I now call to order the meeting of the Planning Commission of June 15th, 2022. Could you rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And if you could remain standing so Secretary Hero could read the statement of values.
Yeah, can everyone hear me?
And unmute himself when he does.
I can hear you, Commissioner. I'm guessing the chambers cannot hear you.
They cannot hear me.
We can hear you now.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, stand by. As we gather, we humbly seek blessings upon this meeting. May we act with strength, courage, and will to perform our obligations and duties to our people with justice to all. Let us seek wisdom so that we may act in the best interest of our people, our neighbors, and our country. All this we ask so that we may serve our community with fairness and respect, putting their needs before all.
Thank you, Commissioner Hero. You may be seated while Elizabeth calls the roll.
Chair Biagini,
Present.
Commissioner Chair Kuru,
Here.
Commissioner Hero,
Here.
Commissioner Wang,
Here.
Commissioner Casey,
Here.
Commissioner Salame, Commissioner Bhatnagar.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, we are all present tonight, Elizabeth?
Yes.
Thank you. Let's move on then to the declaration of commission procedures. Secretary Hero, if you could please cite what the procedures are.
Sure. Public hearings are conducted by the chair in accordance with the following procedures. The chair of the commission directs all activity during the hearings. All comments shall be addressed to the commission. Any item on this agenda may be continued to a subsequent hearing. Applicants will be allotted up to 10 minutes to present and justify proposals. Following staff presentation of the item, other speakers will be given up to 2 minutes. The applicant is allotted up to 5 minutes for rebuttal of comments. No additional comments will be accepted upon the close of public hearing, although the commission reserves the right to direct questions to any speaker on any matter. Special procedures and time limits may be applied to any items as prescribed by the chair. The appeal of commission actions must be filed in writing within 7 calendar days.
Thank you, Commissioner Hero. So just as a reminder, copies of the current agenda and staff reports for each of the items on the agenda tonight are available from the Planning Division office on the Friday afternoon preceding the meeting and are also available online. So moving to continuances and exceptions, this is the part of the meeting that allows for applicants, members of the public, or other interested parties to request that an item be 1, continued without hearing, 2, withdrawn, or 3, taken out of order. Are there any requests from applicants, the public, or the commission for a continuance or exception for any of the items on tonight's agenda?
Chair, I'm checking, and we do not have any comments, e-comments, and I don't see any hands raised. So no, we do not have any request for continuance or exception.
Oh, I could barely hear you, Elizabeth. I'm sorry.
No, we do not have any requests.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to continuances. Oops, I'm sorry. Just another reminder, the Planning Commission does have 7 members, and we're all present tonight, either by Zoom or here at the council chambers. Whenever the full meeting is not present, however, applicants always have the option to continue their item to another meeting. But it doesn't apply tonight. We're all here. So let's move to the consent calendar. Let's see, tonight Do we have any items on our consent calendar? I'm sorry, I don't have that information in front of me. Here we are. Secretary Hero, if you could read the procedures for the
Sure.
consent calendar?
The procedure for the consent calendar is as follows. Consent calendar items may be enacted, approved, or adopted by one motion unless requested to be removed by anyone for discussion or explanation. If any member of the Planning Commission, the staff, the applicant, or a member of the public wishes to comment on a consent calendar item or would like the item to be heard on the regular agenda, please make this request now, as items listed on the consent calendar with associated file numbers constitute public hearing items.
Do you want to go ahead and read what's on the consent calendar?
Sure. Item 1A, Planning Commission meeting minutes of May 25th, 2022. Item 1B, action on a variance to maintain a one-car garage with a 597 square foot addition to a single-family residence at 723 Scott Boulevard. Item 1C, action on use permit to allow on-site sale and consumption of beer and wine for a new Mendocino Farm sandwich market at 2040 Wyatt Drive, Suite 110. And item 1D, action on a 2-year extension of the use permit for a 190-room hotel at 2900 Lakeside Drive.
Let me see if I have any hands raised. I don't. Do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
Move to approve consent items.
Second, Chair Kuru.
Motion by Commissioner Ikezi, second by Commissioner Cherakuru. I'll let you take the vote.
Okay, the motion is to approve the consent calendar. Chair Biagini,
Yes.
Commissioner Cherakuru,
Yes.
Commissioner Hero,
Aye.
Commissioner Wang,
Yes.
Commissioner Ikezi,
Yes.
Commissioner Salame, Commissioner Bhatnagar.
Yes.
Thank you, and the motion passes.
Thank you, Elizabeth. I'm sorry.
Through the chair. Just through you. Okay, through the chair.
Commissioner Cherakuru?
Thank you. Through the chair, just wanted to commend and acknowledge staff's additional effort in capturing the minutes. Thank you, Elizabeth. Very well done. It was a very complicated meeting, and to capture that essence so that City Council heard the deliberation and the dilemma that happened is very helpful. So thank you again to staff and to Elizabeth more specifically.
And I'll second that. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Cherakuru. So this would be the time when we move on to public presentations. Elizabeth, are there any members of the public that would like to briefly address the commission on any items that are not on the agenda?
No, we do. No, we do not.
Okay, thank you. I am going to take the privilege of the chair for a very special and somewhat sad occasion tonight, and that's recognition of our outgoing commissioner, Yuki Ikezi. I'd like to take this opportunity to honor Commissioner Ikezi, who, after serving on the Planning Commission for 10 years, this is going to be her last meeting tonight, and I know we're all going to miss her. And I'd like to give you a little bit of background about Commissioner Ikezi's service to, I'm trying to get my notes up here, Commissioner Ikezi's service to the city of Santa Clara. Let's see. Hold on just a second. I do know, I'm trying to pull it up on my iPhone. Here we go. So I know Commissioner Ikezi began her term on the Planning Commission when she was elected to the City Council in November of 2012, right? To replace Teresa O'Neill, who had gotten elected to, I'm sorry, yeah, she got elected to the council, and you replaced her seat on the Planning Commission. In addition to serving on the Planning Commission, she served on the International Exchange Commission, and Yuki was an officer with the Santa Clara Sister Cities Association, where she coordinated our relationship with Izumo, Japan. Thank you so much for that, Yuki. She put a tremendous amount of work into arranging the exchange trips between Santa Clara and Izumo and was an invaluable member of the team with her fluency in Japanese. Eigo o hanashimasu ka? She still knows what that means. I must be saying it right. She also helped by having a lot of cultural sensitivities for both sides of the Pacific. In addition, Yuki chaired Santa Clara's first redistricting commission, where she led the members of the commission in determining a recommendation for city council districts in Santa Clara's first council election by districts in 2018. Yuki had to steer that commission to a decision on a tight timeline to comply with court mandates. Earlier in 2011, Yuki served on a charter review committee appointed by the city council to examine the method then used to elect council members and to make recommendations to the city council on possible changes to the election process that would make it more equitable and encourage more participation in the community. We can't thank you enough for that, too. Yuki again brought her command of looking at data to make excellent suggestions to the committee, which she continues to do, and I'll bet she'll have some tonight. One thing that's notable about Yuki, she's very willing to help however she can in our community. For years, she has helped Teresa O'Neill make the Thanksgiving dinner at St. Justin's Community Ministry that provides it to the San Jose Family Shelter. Yuki's also given her time to help with other food distribution programs that help members of the community. Yuki's always willing to come in early to set up and to stay late to clean up whenever an event is happening. She generously supports a wide variety of community groups with financial contributions, and I know all of your colleagues on the Planning Commission are going to miss your guidance and, frankly, your expertise on ADUs. Santa Clara needs to get you involved in a project soon, so please don't be a stranger, okay? We're going to miss you. And we do have in the audience tonight, we have some more. I will apologize to the public if we have any electronic hiccups. It occasionally happens. But we have some dignitaries in the audience tonight that I know would like to say a few words about Yuki and how much she was appreciated all these years. So I would like to recognize former Planning Commissioner Suds Jane, who's now on the City Council, followed by former Planning Commissioner Anthony Becker, who's on the City Council now, and followed by former Planning Commissioner Raj Shahal, who's likewise on the City Council. See what's up next for you, Yuki? Okay, Suds, you're on.
Hi, Yuki. 11 years. You were even on the commission for the first climate action plan, which got me involved in the city. As you can see, I'm working on reducing VMT, and I rode my bike, and it was really a pleasure working with you on the PC. I learned an awful lot going to all the conferences and just learning from the old timers on the Planning Commission. And you know, my impression was that you always came to the PC meetings prepared. You always had a list of questions. I mean, that's really valuable. It's a lot of work to be on Planning Commission, and you stuck it out for that many years.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
And we accomplished a lot together. Related City Place, Tasman East, affordable housing policies, and inclusionary housing. And you have, of course, been the #1 promoter of ADUs in the whole city. So I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's really a great way to get affordable housing. And, you know, you've been very persuasive. You twisted my arm twice to take in 2 sets of Japanese students, Sister Cities students, and that was very memorable. My son remembers those students, and it was really great, yeah. So, of course, I know you will continue to be involved with the city. Thank you very much for everything that you've done.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Sads.
Okay, next up we have Anthony Becker.
Hello there, everybody. My former family and still my family. I miss you guys. Long time no see. Finally get to see you guys all in person. It's been so long since I was actually the chair of the Planning Commission. So what a trip. I first want to acknowledge, thank you to Elizabeth Elliott, who reached out by email and coordinated this to contact all of us council members. So I really appreciate that. But I want to say, Yuki, when I first got onto the Planning Commission, you were the chair. It was probably about 2 months, but you led with, I'd say, honesty and passion. And knowing you on the Planning Commission, you always had that passion and you always focused on what residents wanted. I remember one of the best memories I have of knowing you was in 2020 when I was running for council. I was out there and you were offering me a bottle of water because it was really hot, and you understood how much dedication. And that's why I was surprised when you supported me. And what I noticed is that when we were on this Planning Commission all together, is oftentimes we sometimes would disagree with each other. And what I love the most is after we disagreed with each other, we can go and have a conversation afterwards. We could see each other in public. And that is what I loved about you, Yuki, is that we would oftentimes be on opposite ends of an item, but we, at the very end of the day, we were able to have a conversation. We were able to respect each other. And that is something I love seeing on this Planning Commission, is because before this meeting started tonight, I saw all of you guys conversing with each other. It's a family. You guys are a family, and that's what I love to see. And you have that respect and that atmosphere of a family. And you taught me a lot also about ADUs. So I really appreciate your time here on the city, on the Planning Commission here, and I appreciate all of the work and dedication you gave to this city, because 11 years is a long time, and I know you probably feel really honored that a lot of the projects that were built around here were a lot of your votes and a lot of those motions that you made and a lot of the recommendations. And on the city council, I always made sure that I read your recommendations and watched all of your meetings too. So I really appreciate your leadership, and I look forward to seeing you around the community. And thank you guys for all being here. Remember, you're a family.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. It's so nice to see our previous fellow Planning Commission members coming out to talk about all of Yuki's contributions. Raj Shahal, I'll recognize you next.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you all of you for serving. And today belongs to Yuki Keiji. Let me go back to 2011. That was the year when I first met Yuki Keiji, and you'll be surprised how many commissions or how many assignments we did together. 2011 Charter Review Committee, we served together. After 2011, I got onto the International Exchange Commission. Here we go. Yuki and myself served together on International Exchange Commission. And we both got selected for Planning Commission on the same day. And we started serving on the Planning Commission. And as soon as we left International Exchange Commission, we got onto the planning. We formally joined Santa Clara Sister Cities. And that's where we served together on Sister Cities. And you all know her contribution towards serving as a planning commissioner, but let me take you back because I served with her on various occasions. Her contribution serving at Santa Clara Sister City has been tremendous. ISMO is one of our sister cities, and the relationship we built with ISMO was basic foundation led by Commissioner Yuki Keiji. And I'm proud to say that that relationship has been great, and I myself know so many residents of ISMO who have come to my house, and I have been there thrice. I have been thrice to ISMO. I'm in love with that place, and she's the one who introduced that. And her contribution, not only bringing that relationship, gelling that together, but whenever we had volunteer work needed, whether it's Art and Wine Festival, managing the booth, she was there. Whether it's street dance, managing the Sister City booth, she was always there. So she has done a lot of volunteer work for the city of Santa Clara. And I know Councilmember Sarchain and Councilmember Becker touched the passionate things she was doing, like ADU, affordable housing, and she not only asked for ADU, she built one ADU herself. Like that was probably one of the first one, and she had I think arranged a tour for everybody to look at how the ADUs are built, basically. So her passionate work towards the city has been unparalleled, basically. And one thing which Commissioner Becker mentioned, I would like to highlight that. You know, on the Planning Commission, or for that matter, on any commission or any committee, we all have differences. But if you want to learn how to deal with the differences, it's people like Yuki who can tell you how to deal with those. We all have differences, and differences is not a bad thing to have, because every discussion, every difference, at the end of the day, if we are talking positively, we are talking about from passion, it brings up a better solution. And that's what we did at Planning Commission, and that's what Yuki did throughout all her assignments with the city. And we are so proud of it. And as Councilmember Becker mentioned, after we made a discussion, we differed so much during the discussion, we differed on the voting, and when we're done with it, we were all respectful, we were very happy what we did, and we accepted each other's decision making. And that's what matters at the end of the day. And so Yuki, you are still in the community. I know you will still be very involved into the community. And from my head and heart, I really appreciate what you have done since the day we came on Charter Review Committee. That's the first time I met you, and wish you all the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Raj. Thank you.
Thank you, Raj. Was there anybody from the public who wanted to talk, Elizabeth?
I did see a hand up. It did go, it's no longer up.
Give it a second or two.
Just a moment, please.
Then I will.
We're going to have Teresa O'Neill speak. So Teresa, I am, there you go. Teresa, go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you hear me, Elizabeth?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. So I want to echo a lot of the comments that have been made tonight, and I saw very up close and personal of Yuki's commitment to the city and her professionalism and the high level of quality of her work and her ability to be analytical, but not to just get totally lost in data. We can always talk about data and all of that, but there's always the human element behind decisions, and longer term, being able to also maintain a longer term vision for what the accumulative impact of decisions. And so I want to acknowledge those great talents that Yuki has, and also her, a lot of the things that Chair Biagini mentioned, and her also just having a very positive personality and being upbeat and very open to meeting people and to doing new things. And so I want to thank her from the bottom of my heart for her contributions. And I can't wait to see what she's going to do next. So thank you very much for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you, former council member.
Is there another one?
Yes, we have Assistant Director of Community Development, Rena Brio.
Hi, Yuki. When I started at the city of Santa Clara 4 years ago, you were the chair of the Planning Commission. And I really respected how, and this has been a trend with all of our chairs, how conscientious you are of getting everyone on the commission's feedback, and really putting that ahead of really your own, advocacy issues or topics, and I could really tell as a chair how much care you took in that role. And I really respected you in that role. And I just have to say, the other thing that I truly appreciate about you is the number of years that you've served on the Planning Commission. You always have a real ability to understand what it's like for people who are coming in front of the commission, whether they're applicants or the community, that you haven't lost touch with what it feels like to be on the other side of the dais. You understand, a lot of the processes we go through have implications on people's time, on businesses opening, and you've always been super considerate about that perspective, and I have a tremendous amount of respect for that. It's also been a pleasure to just see you transform as a policymaker. And just our last discussion on SB 9, you were like 2 steps ahead of everyone, not everyone, but what I mean is your thinking has been very advanced. You can manipulate different scenarios in your head and really understand what the bigger picture is. So I really applaud you in how far you've come as well in your policymaking. And just want to thank you tremendously too for the amount of respect and courtesy you've given always to staff. It's been a real pleasure working with you.
Rena, thank you so much. Thank you.
For a passionate person, you're so quiet tonight.
I'm just so touched.
Do we have another?
Thank you, Rena. Assistant City Attorney Xander Appy has his hand raised.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to say, Commissioner Casey has been one of the most engaged planning commissioners I've ever had the privilege of working with. Every commissioner has their own style. Commissioner Casey's is to ask a lot of questions, but they're always very detailed, well thought out questions. And there are so many examples of where her questions and her ideas have led to a better result for the city. I've been working with her since 2013, so her fingerprints are on so many projects, Monticello Village, Santa Clara Square, Related City Place, I think at least 4 different specific plans, the ADU ordinance, most recently the SB 9 ordinance. And wow, she's sharp. I have been doing this 23 years. I don't believe Commissioner Casey has a law degree, but nevertheless, she has proven me wrong on more occasions than any official. So I will really miss our interactions,
Me too.
particularly the year that you were chair. That was a real highlight for me.
Thank you.
Please don't be a stranger.
Sure.
I hope we will work together again sometime.
It's been great working with you. Thank you. Thank you.
I think, well, let me say if there's no objections right now, do we have anybody else, Elizabeth? Okay, if there's no objections from my colleagues, what I'd like to do is give Yuki a few minutes if she has a response, and then take a short break so that we can do a little tiny bit of celebration with non-alcoholic drinks and cupcakes here in the chambers. So Yuki.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for such incredibly kind words. I'm really, really deeply touched. Nancy, you brought up things that I forgot working on. So thank you. I probably got information from Teresa, too, so thank you very much. And thank you, Saz, Anthony, and Raj for making a trip out here. I didn't expect to see you, so I'm so happy to see you again in person. Elizabeth, thank you for arranging all this. You've been just so kind, and you've been so wonderful to work with. And Teresa, Rena, Xander, thank you for all your kind words. It's been a huge honor to work with you on the Planning Commission and in other capacities as well. It has been a great honor to be on the Planning Commission. I want to thank my fellow commissioners for serving with me. And I want to really, really thank our dedicated staff for all their hard work in keeping our city going. Thanks to your efforts, we have a thriving community in Santa Clara. During the last 11 years, I saw great changes in our city. I remember that one of the first projects I heard on the commission was at the corner of Scott and Newhall, where 9 units were proposed on around a half an acre. There was a big uproar because people thought 20 units per acre was just too dense for our city. Today, we push developers to go for 100, 120, and 150 units per acre. Times have really changed. I want to share with you a great conversation I recently had with my hairdresser. I went to get a haircut because I wanted to look nice for this meeting, my last one. My hairdresser says she's finally seeing more families arriving in Silicon Valley again after the pandemic. She would know because one of the first things people do when they move is to find a good hairdresser. Many of these newcomers have small children. 10 years ago, they would have rented in places like Cupertino, but now they're choosing Santa Clara. Because we have many nice housing options for comparatively affordable rents, they come here. I was so happy to hear this because I felt all our efforts to encourage more housing have made a real difference. Young families notice the difference between Santa Clara and other cities, and they're choosing us. The results are real, and our housing data prove it. Although I am a homeowner myself, I always strenuously avoided decisions that would benefit homeowners at the expense of renters. We must make our city hospitable to newcomers and young people starting their lives here, because they are our future. Without them, our community will wither and everyone will suffer. I'm also very proud that during my tenure, I saw this commission transform into a body of diverse commissioners. When I started 10 years ago, the commission did not look anything like what we have today. I faced disrespect and harassment from some of the fellow commissioners, and some staff members ignored me. But these people, I don't see that anymore. I hope I made some impact because every time I had a chance to speak with council members, I asked them to appoint more diverse commissioners. I am glad our commission today better reflects the larger Santa Clara community. Our commission makes some of the most consequential decisions for our residents. If members of the commission do not reflect the larger community, we will not be able to earn and keep their residents' trust. I hope people of many backgrounds will continue to serve on our commission. And I want to thank again our dedicated staff for their professionalism, for their long hours, and for their hard work. I worked with some of you for my entire 10-year tenure. Our city will not function without your dedicated work, and it has been a great honor and pleasure to work with you. Thank you again, and I look forward to seeing your good work from now on as a member of the public. Thank you.
And we have a standing ovation for the participants in the chambers.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And if anybody ever doubted your passion, we certainly heard it in your closing sentiments. I look forward to seeing you because I know you won't be a stranger. Thank you so much for all you've done. And how about we go ahead and take a short 15-minute break? 10-minute break. Let me make that a 10-minute break in deference to a packed agenda that we have tonight. So 10-minute break. Elizabeth, I'll let you call the time.
We will be back at 6:47.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
hearing items. We are.
Okay, there we go. That was fun. You'll hear some more from your colleagues towards the end of the meeting. We're not done with you yet, Yuki. All right, moving to public hearing. We have a few items on public hearing tonight, so we'll start with the first one. Actions on a proposed multifamily residential project to develop 60 units, 40 townhomes and 20 flats at 3141 to 3155 El Camino Real. Staff, you have a presentation?
Thank you, Commissioners, and good evening. And thank you, Commissioner Ezeki, for all your service and your long-term participation and commitment to us in the city. It's most appreciated, and we've enjoyed having you on the Planning Commission.
You're one of the people I've worked with you for 11 years, so thank you, Debbie.
Okay, the project request is a mitigated negative declaration and mitigation monitoring and reporting program, a rezone from thoroughfare commercial to planned development to allow development of a residential project consisting of 40 townhomes and 20 flats for a total of 60 units. On and off-site improvements, and this includes the removal of the Calabasas Bridge adjacent to the project site. We'll discuss that a little bit more. Tentative tract map to create 64 sale condominiums and a common lot to serve the development. This is the project site. It is a 2.14 acre project site comprised of 2 parcels with neighboring single-family residential to the north, the former Wheels and Deal site to the east, which has been approved for live, work, and residential development, and we can talk about that a little bit more as well. It's presently starting construction. And to the south, we have commercial development across El Camino Real, and to the west as well. Calabasas Creek runs north and south adjacent to the project site, and these are one-way direction Calabasas Boulevard running this way, north and south, and then south and north. It is developed with 3 commercial pads, and they're all 1-story commercial buildings, one of which is, this is a car wash, but a mix of different types of commercial and restaurant uses, surface parking, and some perimeter landscaping. And this is, the bottom is just a streetscape of the frontage along the El Camino Real under existing conditions. The existing land use designations for the project site are community mixed use under the general plan. This designation allows up to 20 to 36 units per acre for residential development and an FAR minimum of FAR of 0.10 commercial. And it is located in the El Camino Real focus area, which is unique in that it allows for community mixed use to either be a combination of commercial and residential, or 100% commercial, or 100% retail commercial, or 100% residential. It is, the El Camino Real focus area is intended to be a kind of a tree-lined, pedestrian and transit-oriented corridor with a mix of residential and commercial uses, and whether they be in a horizontal arrangement or a vertical arrangement. The zoning for the project site is thoroughfare commercial. This is, our CT zoning district does not allow for residential development. It's primarily, it has been, and in some areas continues to be very auto-oriented and commercial development. The proposed project is, as I said, it's 60, but I did not say it's for sale residential units. So 40 townhomes, 20 flats, 25 dwelling units per acre. It is 15% of those are affordable units. There are 4 plan types: 2 bedroom, 2 baths, 2 bedroom and 2.5 baths, 3 bedroom, 3 baths, and 3 bedroom, 3.5 baths. They range anywhere from 1,300-ish to 1,700-ish square feet in area. They have attached garages in both a tandem and side-by-side arrangements. 10 guest parking spaces. Here you see them in these locations. Oops. I went too far. Okay, let's go back there. I'm sorry, I'm seeing all of your faces on my site plan. So the parking is here. You have, for guest parking, you have access to the site from El Camino Real. It's consolidating existing curb cuts into a singular central driveway. This is a 2-way in and out. And then we have a 2-way driveway into Calabasas, but it is a right turn only out. And that's one of the reasons for the removal of the Calabasas Bridge, is to secure, to promote vehicle safety on, so that because the alignment of the bridge is close to the alignment of this driveway, so that we don't have people crossing over one-way directional north movement, and promoting traffic safety. Let's see, there is, I've identified that the setbacks are, they vary throughout the project site. We have 21 to 20, almost 24-foot setback adjacent to the single-family residential to the south with the landscape buffer. We have 10-foot setback with the landscape buffer here next to these, the higher density residential that's being constructed on to the east side. 1.3 to 10-foot setback along the street frontage. It does include beyond, from the property line, I should say, because we have a complete street section, 4-foot landscape strip and a 10-foot wide sidewalk fronting the project site, which narrows down to 8 feet on the Calabasas. And this is to connect the adjacent land uses and make it more pedestrian oriented. And then this is where it comes really tight, is at the corner. You can see here, this is where it really narrows down to the 1.3, but mostly it's a 10-foot setback along the front that's landscaped. And then we have the 8.8 to 10.8 foot setback along the side, west side of the property. So the be coming in on the private drive and accessing the garages from the interior street. And there is an 8-foot new fence to be constructed along the perimeter, abutting the existing residential as well as the new residential to the east. Here are the proposed elevations. It's a 3-story product that does taper down to 2 stories in the back, and we'll move forward through the elevations. And the materials are varied. It's modern design, kind of a modern aesthetic. Stucco exterior with lap siding, metal railings, and metal trellises, metal awnings. So there's a mixture of materials, offsets, articulations to break up the massing and the scale of the building. The maximum peak height, I should say, is 36.9. This is to the top of parapet. This is top of floor is actually 30 feet. So there's a high distance for a parapet to sort of screening. There's some rooftop outdoor area, so that helps to screen that as well. And here we have the Calabasas Boulevard frontage and a perspective here, again, of what the overall design aesthetic is. And then we have those that abut, this section is to show that the residential units abutting the properties, the single-family properties to the rear. This is where it terraces down at the rear of the property to 2 stories, as you can see. So it tapers down from the 36 down to and there's some 43 at the top, 43-foot heights that's not shown in this elevation, but is shown, oh, excuse me, here we go again. That the elevator towers, when you hit the elevator towers, are at 43, so a little bit higher. But it does taper down to 20 feet at the rear, and again back at the 36 feet for the top of parapet. There was a mitigated negative declaration that was prepared for the project with the notice of availability circulated for 30-day review, and that occurred from February 14th to March 16th of 2022. We did receive 2 letters, from one being from Caltrans and the other being from the Santa Clara Valley Transportation Authority. The mitigated negative declaration identified potential significant air quality, biological, cultural resources, geology and soils, and hazardous material impacts with development. That also identified mitigation measures to reduce those potential significant impacts to a level of less than significance, which will be implemented through the mitigation and monitoring reporting program and through project conditions of approval. Considerations related to the proposed project. The project does conform with the city's general plan for the existing land use designation of community mixed use in the El Camino Real focus area. The density at 24 units to the acre, it is within the 20 to 36 range. And the policies in the general plan, both for land use policies and transition policies. The project does require a rezone for residential development to support the general plan policies and the PD to establish the development standards for the development. It requires a tentative tract map to subdivide the land into ownership and common lots. It increases housing inventory and home ownership opportunities at market rate and affordable levels. It's compatible with the type and scale of existing and recently approved development along El Camino Real. And it does, as stated previously, transition from 3 to 2 stories abutting the single-family residences to the north. Staff's recommendation is to adopt, for the Planning Commission, is to adopt a resolution to recommend the City Council adopt the MND and the MMRP, adopt a resolution to recommend the City Council approve a rezoning of the project site from thoroughfare commercial to planned development to allow the proposed development of 60 residential units for sale, the private street, landscape open space, surface parking, site improvements, and adopt a resolution to recommend the City Council approve the tentative tract map to subdivide the land into residential ownership condominiums and a common interest lot to serve the development. We have this evening the applicants, Tom Quaglia and Caleb Cater from representing the development. And if there's any environmental questions related to the MND, we have Shannon George and Patrick Callis from David J. Powers and Associates available on Zoom to answer your questions. And if you have any questions for me, I'm ready.
All right. Looking to see if any of my fellow commissioners have questions. Okay. Lance, followed by Commissioner Huang, followed by Commissioner Cherukuru. Go ahead, Commissioner Salim.
Okay, so I'm curious, I didn't see a clear designation on the site maps of common space and how it would be allocated over 60 units. Could you show us where the areas are that are considered common space?
Oh, the common areas?
Yeah.
I know that the applicant has much more detail about that in their presentation, so I'm going to hold off and allow them to elaborate on that.
Okay, well, I can save some of my other questions for their presentation also then. Thank you.
Okay, we have Commissioner Huang, then Charakuru.
And I'm sorry if everybody can speak up because I can barely hear you.
Okay, thank you. We have questions from Commissioner Huang, followed by Commissioner Charakuru, followed by Commissioner Hero. So Commissioner Huang.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Chair. Actually, Debbie, before we had a project similar to this one. I remember I visited the job site. Is the same or?
I'm sorry, Elizabeth, can you?
Oh, sorry, Debbie. So actually, I visited this job site before. Is this the same project as the last year, or is this the first time come to the commission for this project?
So the question was, is this the first time this project has come to the commission?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes.
then probably I'm confused.
Yeah.
Thank you, yeah.
Sorry.
That's it.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Huang. Commissioner Charakuru, then Commissioner Hero.
Thank you, Chair. I have 3 questions, and I actually wanted to commend Debbie. Good project. Thank you for bringing it. Has a lot of value for our city. A couple of comments or feedback that I'd like. I'm reading through the VTA response letter, and a couple of comments that they had offered our recommendation, basically the city or the governing body's recommendation is to confirm if we are maintaining an 8-foot width maximum sidewalk along El Camino Real because of the future bike lane proposal. While I think our plan shows a 10.5-foot sidewalk, they were confirming if this was truly in the public right-of-way.
Yes.
Okay, so the 10.5 foot is along the public right-of-way and will be dedicated towards the bike lane, whatever is the needed.
Well, some of which will probably, because I think it's 8 feet face of curb to property line. So some of it may be, there may be a sidewalk easement on the project site, and Tom could clarify that for us. If it's not all in the public right of way, it'll be overlapping into the private property.
That's what they were trying to confirm.
Yeah.
They wanted to ensure that it was not limited by
in
the
public
private,
right-of-way, right.
but to ensure at the very minimum that there was 8 feet for the bike lane to successfully.
Correct, because if there's improvements that are made, it would come out.
Okay,
Right, yeah.
so we'll make that a needed condition.
Okay.
And then require light poles along El Camino Real to also include additional pedestrian scale lighting to complement the future bikeway. Is that something that the city would undertake, or would this come under the purview of the project conditions?
It wouldn't, that's a much larger project. And not related to
the project. Is there
maybe
another city improvement plan?
I know Leslie is on. Maybe she can.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. When we were embarking on the El Camino Real specific plan, which has not yet been adopted, it did include pedestrian lighting along El Camino. Since that plan was not adopted, we don't currently have a mechanism to require that additional pedestrian lighting, but it is something that we could look at in the future.
Okay, that would be helpful if that's taken as a future recommendation when considering the bike plan for the city. And a couple more on the plan itself. I noticed that this entire project has only one in and out, like it has only one access point. Could you plan?
Do you want to see that drawing?
Yeah.
Sure.
Because it seemed a little landlocked.
Getting there. There we are.
That one.
Yeah, so you can access it from El Camino, and that is a right turn in, right turn out, and then you would do a U-turn.
Oh, so the one bottom is an actual vehicular.
There's a median in the El Camino Real.
So it would make a U? I mean, So you can only.
Well, you can come out of here, but you would have to, you'd either gonna turn right or you're gonna go up to the signal and you're gonna make a U-turn on El Camino to travel eastbound.
So
So it's
there
right
wouldn't
in
be.
and right out.
There
Right
wouldn't
in and
be
right
any
out.
crossover. There's a full-on median. So people who are coming on the,
If you're going eastbound, you wouldn't be able to turn left into the project
you
site.
wouldn't be able to. Okay, so you would have to take the city,
Yes.
the
Yeah.
street intersection, and come back in. Okay. Or you could turn on Calabasas.
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, you can turn left on Calabasas and then turn right into the project site. Yes.
Okay, that's very helpful. Is there a VTA bus stop?
There is, I don't know if it shows up on the aerial. It might. That's a really good question. Okay, let's see. Right here, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay, that's very helpful.
Can you see that right there?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Thank you. That's very insightful because I'm, with all our future efforts to try to limit cars and definitely with the 15% affordable housing component, and any senior families that would move in, I think that's a good amenity to build on and make sure that that is accessible by all. That's all I had. And thank you again for the good responses to the M&D. And David J. Powers, I've worked past, so good work. Thank you again to city staff. I yield, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Cherukuru. We have Commissioner Harrow up.
Thank you, Chair. Can you hear me in chambers?
Absolutely.
My question is also on the access to the development. Will these driveways be gated?
They're not shown being gated in the plan set, and the applicant can speak to, and he's shaking his head, so no, it's not gated.
No, okay. And the reason is there's a large homeless population in that area, which attracts quite a bit of crime. I know because I live in the neighborhood. So I was just curious if those driveways would be gated. The next question is, you spoke of an 8-foot wall at the rear perimeter of the development. Now, does that mean to say that alleyway behind the current shopping center is going away?
Yes, that would be landscaping.
So, but the wall there will no longer be an alleyway there, is the question.
Well, it'll take it up to the property line.
Up to
So
the
whatever's
home?
within the property boundaries.
Which property line? The property of the development or the
Yes.
property?
The property itself, the project site property.
Okay, so in between that property and those homes is an alleyway.
Mm-hmm.
Is that going to remain?
There's no plans they'd have to acquire it. And there's no,
I think we have an answer, Debbie.
yeah, Tom says he'll answer that one. But no, there's no, and as far as we know, it's staying unless there's something happening that we're not aware of.
Okay, so the alleyway remains.
Debbie, I think that alleyway is part of the shopping center. It just serves the back of those retail centers. I don't believe it's remaining as a part of. I believe the project's going to redevelop it. If you look at the plan set.
This is the chair. I do believe we have an applicant. I see a head nodding in the audience who is happy to discuss that particular question when the applicant speaks. Am I right out there? He says yes. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Commissioner Harrow, so the applicant will address that. Do you have another question?
I do. The question is on the bridge crossing Calabasas Creek.
Mm-hmm.
Is that part of the infrastructure upgrade to this project is to remove that bridge?
Yes, it's actually a condition of approval. Let's see. Oh, I don't have this one up. Hold on just a second, because I'll read you the condition. It's under it's a public works condition. It's E8. Applicant will permanently block vehicular access to the bridge prior to issuance of building permit, not including demolition permit. Within the single encroachment permit for the project, applicant shall reconstruct the street median, fence and curb and gutter to match the existing conditions on either side of the bridge. Prior to occupancy, applicant will have completed the removal of the bridge and closed out all permits, or applicant will post a bond with the city for $350,000 to be held until bridge removal and permit closeout is completed.
Understood. My next question is, with the removal of that bridge, will there be a U-turn allowed in the southbound Calabasas direction to make a U-turn onto the northbound Calabasas direction? That intersection is huge, and I'm curious if
Did we lose Commissioner?
Going this way, you're talking about doing this.
Commissioner Hero, we did lose you if you were still talking.
We've lost you.
Commissioner Harrow, we've lost you. So I think your question, though, might be complete. So we're talking about whether or not a U-turn is going to be allowed.
It hasn't been discussed, and that would be something we'd have to discuss with traffic engineering, whether it's, one, warranted, two, if it's safe, and three, if it's feasible.
Okay, I'm kind of waiting for Commissioner.
It hasn't been raised in the environmental. It wasn't something that was identified as being a trigger that would be necessary. So it has not been examined.
All right, I'm going to ask that the applicant, if they have, when it's the applicant's turn to speak, if he would like to address that issue too. It's coming up in a minute, as soon as we're done with the question. So thank you, Debbie. And I'm going to go right now, I'm going to go to Commissioner Bhatnagar while we wait for Commissioner Harrow to come back online. Because I'm not seeing him. We lost him somehow.
When he rejoins the meeting, I'll let you know.
Okay, thank you, Elizabeth. Commissioner Bhatnagar, you had questions?
Yes, Chair, thank you very much. So quickly, the one question I have is to Debbie. In terms of the spaces allowed for visitor parking, is there a formula that the city uses? And is the handful of spaces that you do have, as I recall from your presentation, is that sufficient for a development of this size?
Well, it's above the standard. It's 10% is the standard, and there's 60 units, so it's greater than, they're providing 10 where 6 would be the minimum, so it is above the minimum requirement.
Okay, I'll take that as an answer, because it seems to me if any family here has a function for any family member going on any given day, there would be overflow parking required for visitors wanting to attend. And so in that regard, is there a proposal to allow some parking on El Camino or on Calabasas, or the answer is no, it meets the minimum standard and we're done?
Well, those areas would be aerial access is required for fire, so parking would not be allowed along the frontage of the project site for fire safety.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Bhatnagar. You know, I have a question, and Debbie, if you can't answer it, I will toss it to the applicant for question number 3 to address. Do we know where the for sale units are going to be?
They're all for sale.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
It's just a unit mix of flats and townhomes.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you very much. Do we have Commissioner Harrow back on? We do? I see Karen shaking her head yes.
We do. Commissioner Hero, can you unmute yourself and go ahead and speak?
Okay.
Commissioner Hero, you are still muted.
Can you unmute yourself, Ricky? I think the cyber gods are messing with us again. Ricky, you're still showing as muted. So while our staff tries to figure out what the problem is, I'm going to go ahead and I don't think, oh, Commissioner Cherukuru has another question. So let's go to Commissioner Cherukuru. We'll come back to you, Commissioner Harrow.
And this is actually in line with Commissioner Harrow's probably. I am now curious, since he brought it up as the bridge. The bridge serves directly into the retail properties across. I've used that bridge. So I'd be curious where the U would be, because it doesn't offer a U from the boulevard, from the Calabasas Boulevard onto El Camino and then a U. Am I missing something here? And probably Commissioner Harrow had the same thought. The property, the bridge literally goes directly into the retail complex across.
Thank you.
So the implication of removing that bridge, and I wonder first why, because we already have a driveway that goes into the retail. So there's no real reason, but the traffic impact would be substantial.
Staff? I think the applicant will probably want to address that again. I see him patiently waving his hand. He has an answer. Am I correct? He has an answer for that. So,
Okay.
Are you keeping all these questions lined up? Well, we'll remind you, okay? I know I have Commissioner, and I just lost my screen. Hold on a second. I believe it was Commissioner Bhatnagar has his hand up. Commissioner Bhatnagar, you have a question for staff? You're on mute. There you go.
I just lowered my hand, Chair, so my apologies. That has been outstanding from my last question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Bhatnagar. We're still having problems getting Ricky
Yes, staff
back
is working
on.
with Commissioner Hero. We will let you know when we can get him back
When he
in the
comes
meeting.
on. Okay,
Oh, wait.
yeah, maybe he can use the phone instead of Zoom. I'll let you handle that, Elizabeth, while I move
Yeah,
to Commissioner
staff is
Salame.
working on
and
it
after
right now.
Commissioner Salame, we'll have the applicant.
The applicant
It's a
does
question
have,
that the applicant can put on his list. Is that bridge carrying any infrastructure? Is it carrying water or sewage or anything that crosses Calabasas? And how is that going to be rerouted if necessary? That's it. Thank you.
Okay, I don't see any other hands up from the commission right now, so I think this might be a good time to go to the anxiously awaiting applicant.
the applicant has 10 minutes to speak.
Can we hold for just a second until I get his presentation up?
Sure.
Trying to change this, sorry.
Before you start the clock, I'll say hello.
Oh, here we go.
Good evening, Chair.
Yeah, wait till it's up. That'll help. Is that where you need it?
Yes.
Okay, we'll go ahead and start. Thank you.
Good evening, Chair, fellow commissioners, Commissioner Ocasey, congratulations. Thanks for the chance to present tonight. My name's Tom Quaglia. I'm project manager, longtime project manager with Bayview Development Group out of San Jose. It's exciting and fun to present tonight. because it represents, and I'm going to clarify something, a 3-year collaborative process. So you are correct. We have met before. A 3-year process that we have been working diligently together with staff and surrounding stakeholders. COVID obviously presented some challenges both with timing and connectivity, but we're here today. And hopefully we've listened to everybody and anticipated, and we're performing in a diligent manner with our project. Our guiding principles from the beginning were compliance with the general plan, first and foremost. And then the next was we needed to respect this location because it is a critical location at the corner and the entry to the neighborhood. We wanted to build consensus with the staff and all the departments. And the most important thing is probably listening to the stakeholders, citywide and in the surrounding areas. The image you see here is probably the best example of our collaboration with staff. This is a new public plaza at the corner of our property. This was the first written comment we received from staff, and this became one of the backbones of our project from day one. So if we advance, give you a little bit of a setting, we are at a critical corner. We're next to Wheels and Deals there to the red, and the greater Briarwood Elementary neighborhood behind us. It's critical because there's a lot of homes behind us, and we had to get this, quote, front door corner location right. So we took a critical look at that and wanted to be sensitive to the single family behind us, the 4 stories of Wheels and Deals, and quite frankly, transition down to a little bit lower 3-story product. So I'm going to kind of walk you through here. This is over our 3-year period. Public input was really about these main issues. And they really wanted for-sale housing, did not want large building masses, wanted a transition at this corner, going from 4 stories to 3 and to 2. So we are at 3 and at 2. There was a lot of discussion in earlier workshops to stay away from emission-style architecture if we could, and then obviously respect the corner location. I want to just point out how we got to where we were and what our thinking was. So I'll answer these questions as we go along. Commissioner Hero, the alley that exists behind us now is being removed with this project. We own all that land. Right now, that alley is for garbage pickup, and quite frankly, it's pretty unsightly. That whole area is now being converted to planting and common open space, and the thinking there is that you have yard up against the yards of the surrounding houses to the north of us. So we're matching yard to yard. The next is we transition to the 2-story architectural designs along the back, and then we come out here to Calabasas. The existing Calabasas rhythm is front doors. These houses to the north of us face out. So working with our planner, we made a decision to do front door treatment here of townhouses with a really strong stoop look, front porch look, and eyes of the village design. And then the last 2 items I wanted to hit on is we worked diligently with the fire department to come up with, we have fire access requirements. And they worked great with us to come up with the main entry right in, right out on El Camino Real. But what this afforded us was we did not have to have huge seas of asphalt on our site for big turning radiuses for the fire department. This critical location solved a lot of things for us as it relates to that. We do have a secondary entry in the back on Calabasas, and I'll come back to that as I address the bridge. So those are some of the thoughts. And then the next kind of grouping of this is because we have 3 different building types, we're able to do variations of architecture. Most of these kind of projects have one type of architecture for the whole project. We have 3 unique. So the buildings out front are 3 stories and have a somewhat modern but complementary architectural style. We transition to Calabasas that becomes very strong in the ground floor architecture, that porch and whatnot. It's a different look, but complementary. And then the 4 2-story buildings in the back is a different type of product and a different type of architecture. So in a small project, it's unusual to get this kind of variety. The other thing is by working out these entry points and these small portals through into the site, this whole vision is of architecture, and the public's view of this project does not see a sea of asphalt, which is a really kind of a nice look, if you will. And then we were able to put the public plaza exactly as directed by staff at this corner. It is the size and location that was recommended by staff from the beginning. So this is the thought process of how we got to where we are. If you then blow up, you can see that the public plaza here is a respite. It's a location where people can walk from the neighborhood, come down the tree-lined Calabasas, stop, rest, and then walk home. So it gives you a to and fro. Also, if somebody wants to be more ambitious, you could do the loop and go from the neighborhoods, come down, go down the short distance and back up hours and into the neighborhood. So it serves a lot of different things, and it does get us that green space on this. As it relates to the rest of the site, we have a large common open space back here with picnic areas and a lawn and dog walking paths. You can see they're all penetrated. This is not a gated community. It is open to the public. Obviously, the corner is as well, and that was done purposely. Once again, staff did a good job on this, but this is El Camino Real, very enhanced architecture. Our planner, Debbie, pushed us as far as we could go to get as much detailing, as much richness and warmth in materials, colors, and design. And so this is reflected along El Camino. This building specifically has one lobby entrance, so you get this really strong front door look of this. And then because it's stacked flats, the units on the ground floor, 2 bedrooms, 2 bath, are really good quality, fully accessible units as well in this building. As we turn our attention to Calabasas, we go to a traditional townhome because we're now transitioning to the single-family neighborhood. This is more appropriate for that. You can see, once again, strong stoop, strong ground floor, eyes of the village out to the street. You come out to the street, and that type of detailing is reflected here. Once again, we had multiple sessions with Debbie and our architect and our landscape architect to get this kind of detailing. So that's where we started, how we got to where we are. We end on the slide, if you will, of the public plaza. Our project complies with the general plan. It's the spirit of all of your policies with regards to green building, ADA accessibility, and quite frankly, they're very modest, average 1,500 square foot units that will really give the city and the 9 affordable housing units a good variety of quality housing. So we would ask for your support. So now I'm going to make an attempt, if we could stop the clock, and answer your questions. Let's go.
I don't think we're going to consider our questions as part of your 10 minutes. So.
Correct. Yeah. I'm just starting to get heart palpitations here.
Okay.
So I'm going to go back, and we're going to start with the bridge.
Okay.
And then we'll just keep rolling. Okay. So I'm going to hit this. So this bridge right here was built when the shopping center was built in the late 60s. It is a one-way bridge. It's narrow. It goes into the retail center. And I would guess that that was done that way so that people in these neighborhoods could come into this retail center. Currently, that retail center, if it was vibrant and gas stations were working and everything, it would generate about 2,500 average daily trips a day. Our project will generate about 450 average daily trips a day. So the need for any bridge goes away. It does not carry any infrastructure. It's deficient as it relates to Caltrans. There's been some notices and whatnot. So everybody agrees it goes away. How the access works is we have the right in, right out, which is our main access here. And then we have a secondary access that is right in, right out, and you just go up here, you make a U-turn and you get out. There's no need to come out or come southbound on Calaveras, make a U-turn and come back, because typically there's not much traffic coming from here trying to get into our site. However, I believe this intersection, even though it is large, it is signal protected and would allow for a U-turn to go back if there were a few people that wanted to do that. So those are the answers to that. The U-turn's not prohibited.
I believe that the U-turn is prohibited there.
It is
Am I
prohibited?
correct, Debbie?
Oh.
Right on the corner. My daughter was.
Oh, excellent. Well, then then I don't have to guess. But the amount of traffic that would probably want to do that is slow, because we're at about a third of what the traffic would be. So that's that. Now I'm going to try to go through the other ones. So the questions about Vta and bike lanes, and by the way, the bus does stop. I just saw it stops right there and right there. So we put those up there. All of the bike lane configurations were already included in the complete street design. So all the bike lane requirements of the VTA have been accommodated in there. The sidewalk as well is in the complete streets, and so we had to improve the public sidewalk to the width that they wanted, and if we have to adjust the property line, that just happens. And so that public sidewalk meets the most current complete streets design imposed on us by the city. Pedestrian lights in the right-of-way. If you go out there now, you have the ornate, beautiful El Camino Real street lights, and as part of the complete streets, that stays. And there aren't any other pedestrian lights. Typically, the lumen for those street lights includes pedestrian. And especially here, because we're at an intersection, so we have additional street lights that are required to light any intersection. So I'm not sure what VTA wanted more PED lights, but there's a lot of light out there at night. I think I addressed the alley. We own the alley. It is not great. It goes away, and then we just replace the fence that's on the existing property line. We hit the bridge. The visitor parking is formulaic from the city. I think we have just a little bit extra, but we also have provided on-site garage parking and owner parking that meets the city requirement. Plus, there is curbside parking on Calabasas that remains with this project. So we have all sorts of those. Plus, we have the transit right outside the front door. And then lastly, it wasn't asked, but there's upgrades being done, obviously, to all the street trees on both El Camino Real, and we're adding street trees to complement Calabasas canopy on Calabasas, where there are no street trees right now. So I believe I hit all the questions. No infrastructure in the bridge. So it's a very spindly bridge. And that concludes, unless you have more questions.
Thank you. I think we do. Before I get to Commissioner Ikezi and Chirukuru, is Commissioner Hero back on yet? I thought I saw him come and go a couple of times. There he is. I will recognize you, Commissioner Hero. And you're unmuted, so if you talk,
Can you hear me?
There you are. Yes, we can.
My God, this thing is so glitchy.
But you were able to get on. That's a good thing.
But my question for the applicant that just spoke, because I missed a good portion of it. I'm going to have to disagree with you on the U-turn at Calabasas Creek. And I'll tell you who's going to want to make a U-turn, and that's going to be the residents that live in this new project. If they can only get to it in one direction of Calabasas, they will be needing to make a U-turn if they're traveling southbound on Calabasas to get to the access. Either that, or they're going to have to turn up El Camino and make a U-turn at Alpine Avenue and access the project from the El Camino side. Either way, it's going to require a U-turn if they're traveling southbound on Calabasas from Warburton.
Mm-hmm.
I don't disagree with you. The mitigation to that, the con to that would be the fact that presently that center has 2,800 trips a day, and we're going to be going down to probably around 430 trips a day. So we're hoping that great reduction in traffic will alleviate. But you are correct. We could. There's probably more machinations to it as well. But I can't.
Might I make a slight suggestion? What about some upgrades to the current bridge and leave it in place?
Well, I would defer to your Public Works Department and the Santa Clara Valley Water District, because they are the public entities requiring the removal of the bridge.
What I can tell you is requiring the removal of that bridge doesn't make sense for the residents, as few as there may be, to access that property. They really could use that bridge. It'll save them a whole bunch of driving in other scenarios if they're traveling southbound on Calabasas to access the property. For me, I think it would make more sense to upgrade the bridge and leave it in place. Just my opinion.
Thank you.
Oh.
Thank you, Commissioner Hero. I'm wondering if I may, is that a question for Debbie or Xander about how we could address that? Because I also travel that area, and I do see it as a problem. I hear what you're saying, but it's really a nightmare if you want to make a U-turn. I've often wanted to do so myself, and I can't do it. Is that a question for who can better answer that? And who takes responsibility for it, I guess?
Well, really, I think it would have to be studied. It has to be looked at by traffic engineering. It's got a weird radius when you.
I know it does.
It's got that's
very
that curvature
familiar.
in the bike lanes and stuff. It's a very odd intersection right there. So, I mean, I don't see wanting to do it personally, a U-turn, just because I don't think it would be a safe maneuver. But I would defer that to traffic, something that traffic engineering would have to look at and see if what modifications would have to be done in order, and what's the nexus that requires such a large capital improvement project to be done.
And I understand that about a U-turn, but then it bounces back to what Commissioner Hero was saying about the bridge, and I'm not sure how much of that becomes technically the responsibility of the applicant or somewhere else. So let's move on. I know we have two other questions on. Ricky, did you have another question? I don't think so.
I'm gonna, just one more question. We're losing a lot of retail space with this development. What is the plan to replace that retail space that we're losing?
So there's 21,000 square feet of retail there presently. I participated in probably 5 placemaking workshops held by the city in the last 4 years. The city brought in Regis Retail, Hunter Storm Development, Steinberg Group to do retail charrettes. And what the city's assembled groups always said, no more fragmented retail, no more strip commercial, consolidate it at the big nodes, because that's the only way it can survive. So that was what we were always told. And obviously, when they looked at 21,000 square feet, it's important, but the discussions was always to consolidate retail in going forward. And in fact, there were substantial reports, analysis done by staff that showed that, where those nodes being upgraded would absorb all that retail.
I understand that in theory, and I get what the city's trying to accomplish. However, there are quite a few small businesses there, most of them ethnic, that are going to be losing their small businesses when this development starts. And my concern is not only for those businesses, but for the residents that use those retail businesses, restaurants, liquor store, and most importantly, the Mediterranean market there that has the best produce in town. And losing that stings. That's all I can say. Thank you for your help.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Harrow. We'll move to Commissioner Ikezi, followed by Commissioner Cherukuru.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. I like this project a lot, but I do share Commissioner Harrow's concerns about retail, because the businesses that are there right now are not the types of businesses that you try to consolidate. They are small mom and pop shops and small restaurants that cater to the neighborhood. So I am concerned about that. I do have a couple of questions about the neighbors. I assume that you did outreach to the neighbors who are on Betty Court. Have you had any public outreach meetings, and what kind of feedback did you get from them? Especially 1656, 1645, and 1657. Did they show up?
Well, we had neighborhood meetings with notices. City attended them. And then obviously over a 3-year period, the site was posted for almost 3 years. We met and interacted with a lot of people one-on-one. And so I kind of summarized their points over the years of really what they were concerned about. They wanted for sale housing, no question. At the time, they wanted us to fight big density here. And that at some points was talked about over the last 3 years. They like the idea of 2 and 3 stories because of this transition at the corner and this really critical front door to their neighborhood. They obviously talked a little bit about architectural styles, and once the idea of that respite public plaza at the corner, that became a very positive thing. So obviously, the retail center is struggling and has struggled for a long time. As it relates to the tenants there, the posting has been there for 3 years, and I know the landowner has made them intimately aware that this is going to be closing. So it didn't happen overnight. So this is the kind of input that we got. And once again, because it's been posted for so long and we had such a long lead time, we've met with people that live 2 miles away, people that live across the street behind the Firestone, just a variety in addition to our formalized neighborhood outreach sessions that we did through staff.
Okay, thank you. And I'm looking at the Type C building, rear windows. Did you do site study from the 2nd story windows? You could go to the rear elevation for Type C building?
Yeah, so the Type C building is internal to the site.
Maybe it's not in your presentation. It was in Debbie's presentation.
Yeah. So we always, obviously, I'm assuming where you're asking, these are the Type C buildings.
Yes.
And in the motor court, like all townhouses, we have windows on the back.
Yes.
And so those windows, these streets are approximately 23 feet wide plus another 4 or 5. So building to building, these are probably 30 feet plus or minus, which is actually greater than what was done at probably Catalina 1 and 2 and probably next door because we're not as dense as them. So we did look at those window-to-window treatments.
And can those people on the second floor look into the neighbor's backyard? I understand that, there's a step back, so I just wondered if you did a study.
The type C buildings are internal, so these are our walkways. These buildings back here are only 2 stories. And
Right,
we
I
have,
understand. So you have windows, second-story windows.
Correct.
On the backside of type C buildings?
If I can interject.
Yeah, go ahead. You could pull up that.
It would be something that, I could pull up the previous slide, but in terms of what the design guidelines direct, is that egress windows, the larger windows would be, would be oriented to the interior and not towards the single family. Those windows that would be facing single family would be, like 5 feet above the finished floor. So and that's something that we would look at in design review.
I thought I saw rear elevation with rear windows facing the backside of the building.
We can pull up that,
yeah. So
I could pull it up.
Commissioner Acasey, you are correct.
Yeah.
Those units back there, 2 stories, have windows on the back.
Yeah.
But what we've done is recreate a backyard, just like the houses. Oh.
Oops.
Just like the houses that are to the north of us. If they had a 2-story house, in fact, there's a few 2-story houses, they have windows as well. But we've recreated the same rear yard planting between us and them so that we end up yard to yard for that reason.
So I'm looking at A2.9 elevation.
Be that, these edge ones.
Yeah, she's good.
That's page.
These ones.
I don't see the page number. Nope, not that one.
Where is it?
A2.9.
Where'd it go?
Oh, go back.
Okay, wait. Sorry.
Getting close.
Commissioner
These would be the units that would be facing the single family, right here. These end units. That's these here, and that's these here.
Understood. So can people looking out the second floor window go look at look into the backyard of the neighbors?
Well, they have been purposely pushed away from them.
Understand.
And mimic the setback of a single-family neighborhood.
Yes.
So that we're basically mimicking what's out there now. You have single-family that also has some 2-story buildings there that have windows. We've created a backyard, if you will, and limited the number of windows. But yes, there will be windows back there. So just like a 2-story house, with a 23-foot rear setback, they can look.
23-foot, okay.
Yeah, so we have a large setback, and it's a whole row of trees, brand new trees as well. So we get a pretty rich landscape area there, and our building is only 21 feet tall, so it's pretty demure.
Got it. That was my next question. Are you going to plant mature trees back there, or are you going to plant mature trees back there?
Yeah, the 24-inch box is what's required now. We have some limitations, because there are some pipes back there existing, public pipes.
Oh,
so the trees will stop at around 35 feet in height, I believe, something like that.
That's pretty high.
So they're.
Thank you. Those are my questions. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood the first
No. Thank you very much.
When I saw building type C, I got confused.
You read the rest of my questions. Thank you.
I think that answered your question, Commissioner
Yes,
Acasey.
I yield.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Acasey. I move to Commissioner Cherukuru.
Thank you, Chair, and great questions again, Commissioner Acasey. I was clarifying that this rear setback is about 23 feet. Is that what we are seeing there, to 21 feet? So I did have, I'm going to reaffirm, I hear Commissioner Heroes, and I drive this road, my kids go to Wilcox. So I would see the U-turn being for bicyclists. The kids do that all the time. So not just cars, the students who go use this. to go to Wilcox as well, if not their main road. But I'm also leaning towards why remove the bridge in the first place? Because it does serve as a break between the main traffic. Otherwise, we are going to see a substantial amount of in addition to the traffic that this housing complex will create. That road in the mornings is already impacted because of the school traffic. It's a constant. So I would highly suggest to city to reconsider the requirement of removing that bridge. The other comment that you made brought my attention to the VTA comments on the trees being planted, while they are requesting that be minimized because those trees will have to be brought down during the bicycle reconstruction. Are you seeing the comment, staff? Yeah.
Well, the bicycle lane is out in the curb-to-curb public right-of-way. The new trees, oh, there we go. The new trees go back of the curb. Certainly, we can coordinate with them because if we're lucky enough to get through the city council in July, we still have 14 months at least of further entitlements, design, permits, and everything before anything happens. So we can certainly have the condition that just coordinates the tree planting. You do that all the time because you don't want to install them and then get them.
Exactly. That's why they say potentially minimize the use of trees along the 4-foot planted strip.
Yeah.
Relocation or removal would likely occur in the future when the bikeway is reconstructed or constructed. So just reflecting that comment that we consider how many trees we are asking to be planted at this time with this. Again, it could be 10 years, and I am all for trees, so I absolutely would encourage a number of trees, but if it's going to require removal of trees soon after or, before they mature. And then I would, again, echo Commissioner Ikezi's comment that retail, albeit feeble in its utilization, serves the local community. It's a very niche cultural retail. It serves the retail needs of the cultural Indian community there and the Pakistani community. So loss of this would be felt. I also felt the design could have taken into consideration some amount of commercial, but we are here. So I do want to I do want to echo the sentiments that we are losing a prime cultural service center.
So I'm sure staff at some point can do a vacancy study. We've done many in 3 cities just recently. The numbers are unbelievable, the percentage of vacancy and options out there. And because we gave so much lead time, the hope was, that they wouldn't go away, that they would find a better place, if you will.
I would.
It's just there's a lot of options right now, and I think it's going to stay like that for a long time.
Agreed. And while we generally have seen the trend of retail go online, the Amazons and the pandemic, brought more of that or exacerbated it. I think this is like a fresh produce. So the retail here is really the local produce or the local community's needs, which is very niche. It's not like the Safeways. It's a very culturally halal market, as well as the fresh produce that is very unique to this community. So it is a loss on that front. So.
Thank you, Commissioner Cherukuri. Commissioner Salam, you had your hand up.
So I came up with a couple more questions while you were chatting. Are any of the external parking designated for drop-off, delivery, et cetera? Or are those all guest parking in the sense that it could have every spot full and a delivery service has no place to park within the community?
I believe to the left of the far left P, there's some, a drop-off spot.
Okay.
But I can get back to you on that.
Yeah, it's just something to consider at the final layout because home delivery is now, as other commissioners have commented, a substantial part of how people get their goods. The other, I had other questions, but I think most of them have been answered by the other commissioners' questions, and I don't want to belabor it. I may come back later, but thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Salim. Commissioner Harrow? I believe.
Yeah, one more question for the applicant. As I pre-read some of the stuff for tonight's meeting, did I read somewhere that there was supposed to have been a car wash included in this project?
No, that's the description of the existing retail. So
Okay.
Yeah, there's the old gas station.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
It's the Vietnamese car wash that currently exists there. And I was under the impression that that was going to remain with your new project. My mistake.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Harrow. We have Commissioner Bhatnagar before we go to public comment.
Yes, thank you, Chair. This is more directed at staff and more a comment perhaps for future consideration. Other commissioners have asked about what happens to the existing retail, some small, effectively mom and pop shops serving, ethnic communities, and also some restaurants and things like that. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, my screen just did some weird thing, and I was wondering whether I had lost a connection.
No, you're loud and clear.
Yeah, thank you. So recommendation to staff, for example, the development that was authorized and built now at Monroe and Lawrence, where there's a very similar sized development there and has residential plus retail. There's a Nob Hill grocery store there as well with a few restaurants. And the thing here is that, the businesses get an opportunity to remain. If that's built into the plan, the builder may offer the existing businesses the first right of refusal in case they want to retain their location. And there's a very, very good business and residential partnership there going on, right? The residents support the business supports the residents. So I think this has been very successful where it's been deployed. I just hope that the city makes more use of that opportunity. So that's my comment here. Thank you, Chair, for listening.
Thank you, Commissioner Bhatnagar. And yeah, Debbie, I'm kind of wondering if some of these questions, the bridge, the ability to U-turn on El Camino Real, relocation of the mom and pops, if those are questions better put to staff, more appropriate there than to the applicant. Am I correct in that assumption? Mm-hmm. I see you nodding your head, yes. Okay, I don't see, I'm looking closer. Commissioner Bhatnagar, I think, okay, there goes your hand. I don't see any other questions from the commissioner, so I think this would be a good time to go to public comment. Don't move, you might have some questions. All right, Elizabeth, do we have anybody?
I'm looking at the moment. We do not have any hands. We just had a hand raised. Let's see here. Brett Zipsy, and if I said that wrong, I apologize. I'll unmute you and give us just a minute to put the clock up. You will have 2 minutes to speak. Okay, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Brett Zipsey. I'm a former Santa Clara resident and South Bay Area resident for over 25 years. I just wanted to voice my my favor for this development. My wife and I were just recently looking for sale opportunities in Santa Clara and didn't have a whole lot of options. So I think that this is a welcome addition to the city. I think we do need a whole lot more of the for sale opportunities for the medium and low income families. But I also think that it's not maxing out on the density, which is important because everybody's kind of looking for that space. I mean, they're providing the public space and a lot of green area here on their proposed development. So it still falls within the general plan range. So I think it does a good job of meeting the needs, but also not maxing out needs. Obviously, if they were to max out the density, there'd be a whole lot more traffic impacts and everything as well. It was already mentioned that there's traffic impacts in the area from Wilcox High at certain times of day, et cetera. So, and then I think it just also did a good job to accommodate the current residents there on the north side. I can sympathize with them if there were much larger density or higher, 4 or 5 story approved project going in here. It would obviously cast them in shadows. So I think it does a pretty good job of accommodating them. And it sounds like they've done the appropriate outreach and given appropriate time for them to call in and voice their opinion. So I just think it's a good balanced project, provides the housing need, provides for sale opportunities for the market rate and low income. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Brett. Do we have any other public with the hand raised for comments?
No, we do not.
Or e-comments?
No, we do not have any e-comments.
Then I think this would be the time for me to entertain a motion to close public discussion.
So move.
I'm sorry, Chair. You have to first ask the applicant for rebuttal.
Thank you.
You need to give them the opportunity. Thank you.
So it's not stump the attorney, it's stump the chair. Good one, Xander. To the applicant. Do you have any further?
No, if you had any more questions, I'm here for you.
Okay.
Motion to close public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have several motions and several seconds. I'm not sure who is first.
I have it down as Commissioner Casey made the motion, Commissioner Chair Kuru seconded the motion.
Sounds good to me. Go ahead and take the vote.
Chair Biagini,
Yes.
Commissioner Chair Kuru,
Yes.
Commissioner Hero,
Aye.
Commissioner Wang,
Yes.
Commissioner Casey,
Yes.
Commissioner Slame,
Yes.
Commissioner Botnagar.
Yes.
Thank you, and the motion passes. Thank you.
Okay, so it's back to the Planning Commission for some discussion, and I will put my comments in at this point. I appreciate the applicant coming to us after a number of years of this being kind of out there waiting for some action. And I realize that it isn't always popular to add more housing these days in Santa Clara. But I also take great note, and I'm very pleased to see that we have a number of comments that have come in. And rather than just try to steal her comments, I am going to Linda Zazara's letter encapsulizes probably better than what I could say, and in 10 words or less, the comments that I have, which are basically, I'm well aware that Linda is not shy about challenging things going up and down on ECR. I like the idea that it's gone from 4 down to 2 to 3 stories, but I think she makes some good points in her letter. While there's folks that don't like housing development, it's just, and I'll quote Linda, it's not practical when so many people need housing and the state is pushing all cities to increase housing opportunities. So we don't have a whole lot of choice there. I like the fact that this was done respectfully with a lot of input from the neighborhoods, that the project includes 15% market rate, that it is for sale, which means the, let's just say the turnover is hardly as great as it would if it was all rentals. The fact that the applicant has the support of the majority of the neighborhoods, he's engaged them more than once. I have to concur with her thoughts because I think she says it better than me. It's a sane plan with height and density considerations that respects the neighbors. That said, I will say that I am in favor of this, and I'm looking to see if there's any other hands up right now from my fellow commissioners. Seeing none, then I think it's time for motions. Commissioner Cherakuru, I think you had your hand up.
Yeah, again, thank you. I offer to move with the following additional conditions. Upgrade for safety and preserve the bridge to avoid traffic and challenges related to U-turns along Calabasas. 2, evaluate the VTA bike plan and path in conjunction with the project proposal, including maintaining the 8-foot minimum public right-of-way for future bike path and planting of trees along the bikeway. And I'm ready to make the motion to, for City Council to approve the rezone plan and the tentative tract map and adopt the mitigated neg deck for the project.
Would that be staff recommendations 1, 2, and 4 that you're referring to?
Yes.
With your additions?
Yes.
Okay, and then I see Xander anxious to weigh in. So go, Xander, you're on.
Thank you, Chair. I'm afraid I have to insist that you take 3 separate motions. And I would suggest, Commissioner Cherakuru, that your proposed modifications would be most appropriate for the second one, the rezone.
Got it. So
How did I know that was coming?
I knew, I figured it too.
Okay,
I
you
knew it
too.
was coming. I just didn't have the paper you had.
All right, so go ahead, Commissioner Cherakuru. Let's start.
Thank you, Xander, again. I move that we adopt resolution to recommend City Council adopt the mitigated neg deck and the MMRP for the 3155 El Camino Real residential project.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second by Commissioner Ikezi. Elizabeth will prepare the vote.
The motion is to approve staff recommendation number 1. Chair Biagini,
Yes.
Commissioner Cherakuru,
Yes.
Commissioner Hero,
Yes.
Commissioner Wang,
Yes.
Commissioner Ikezi,
Yes.
Commissioner Salem,
Yes.
Commissioner Bhatnagar.
Yes.
Thank you, and the motion passes unanimously.
Okay, and I think you had a second motion, Priya?
Yes. Adopt a resolution to recommend the City Council approve rezoning from thoroughfare commercial to planned development to allow 60 condominium unit development consisting of 40 townhomes, 20 flats, private street, landscape, open space, surface parking, site improvements, and at a height of 2.5–3 stories, with the additional conditions to upgrade for safety and preserve the bridge to avoid traffic and U-turn challenges along Calabasas. 2, to evaluate the VTA bike plan and path in conjunction with the project proposal, including maintaining the 8-foot minimum public right-of-way for future bike path and planting of trees along the bikeway. And 3, have the city evaluate the impact to the local retail and address in the specific plan other opportunities for cultural relocation of the displaced businesses.
Do I hear a second?
May I ask the bike plan, what that looks like on the drawing?
Do we have a bike plan in any drawings? The bike path plan from VTA? The bike plan from VTA? Do we have a drawing is what?
applicant, are you referring to one in your presentation?
Bike path is out in the public right-of-way.
Along the El Camino.
Yeah, so it's striping and whatnot. The curb doesn't move per se. Yeah. So the complete street is done and it accommodates it in the existing curb location. We are just enhancing the planting and the sidewalk, which is separate from the bike path.
And it does not impede the 8-foot proposed plan?
No.
Okay.
Does that answer your question, Commissioner Casey?
I'm trying to pull up that drawing.
She's looking for it on the slides, Debbie.
You might
You have
look
the
at
site plan?
drawings,
Site plan.
development plans.
Development plan?
So if you look,
We're looking at it over on our iPads here. See which one is it? Do we have a number on that? It's the one with the yellow boxes, horizontal. and
A10.
A10.
Sheet A10.
Now I have it on
A1.0.
my screen. So the bike lane is where?
It's in El Camino Real. So if you look, zoom in, where you see the trees. So Debbie, you might want to pull, yeah.
Keep going. I wonder if it's on his presentation.
If you can zoom in to where it shows El Camino Real, I think where the trees are and where the El Camino Real.
Bottom of the screen.
The bottom of the screen, Debbie.
Yuki, if you want to pull up A10.
Actually, I believe it's on the applicant's PowerPoint, BDG, page number 5.
Yes, I have it on my screen. Yes.
Yeah. Yes, you have this. There you go. I think you have it. Okay.
So what is the VTA bike plan, 8-foot minimum?
Yeah.
Yeah, so let me just clarify. Once again, the bike lane, right now, there's no striping, there's nothing out there. It's a sea of asphalt. So now they will come in, and I don't know the exact answer. All of the bike lane improvements have to do with striping and identification and whatnot. The curb that exists today, I believe, stays where it is. So we don't have to widen El Camino. The bike lane is in the right-of-way, but there's no striping, there's nothing. So the plan is to do like all the other cities do and put in all that striping and identification from the curb into the street. The bike lanes are not on the sidewalk. We're being asked to make a nicer sidewalk, back a curb. So the bike lane plan is out in the public asphalt that exists now.
So if you can see or zoom into the screen, the 10-foot that's showing up as the setback, 10 feet 10.
Yep.
And then you see double lines, and I'm assuming that's the bike path. What the VTA wanted to ensure was that the proposal, it was not clear where the bike path lane was and where the proposal property line started, or project property line started.
So the
And
proposed.
the curb inward is.
So the curb inward is the responsibility of the applicant, as I understand it, and the curb outward into the street is
Well, we were responsible for the sidewalk improvements.
Right.
That VTA wants, which we accommodated.
Okay.
The existing curb stays where it is.
Right.
And the new bike lanes are striped out in the street.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have done everything that VTA has asked us to do and accommodate. And the only crunch point is the timing of the planting of the trees.
Right.
So when they do all these redos, we're timely and those trees don't get nuked.
Exactly.
Okay.
So
You don't have a
correct.
An
But I want to make
approved
sure that
plan.
we align with VTA's plan and that we are not planting trees just to be yanked out if
We would we would coordinate that, and we have competing interests. We have bicycle interests, and we have complete street interests. trees provide a purpose for traffic calming, as well as other environmental positive impacts. So all of that would be coordinated and negotiated with the city and the VTA for common interests.
Agreed. I'm just making sure that the comment reflected in VTA is reflective, because what response the city gave was that this would be brought up to the Planning Commission and City Council, and at that time, the recommendation would be made. So in alignment with that city response,
Gotcha.
we have due diligence and our responsibility to acknowledge that we have taken into consideration VTA's comments, and as part of the project proposal, we will coordinate our plans in accordance with the proposal or the planned future.
Gotcha.
Okay, so two things. If that satisfies your question, Commissioner Ikezi, and if that's what you're building into your motion for modifications?
Yes.
Okay.
That was a motion, still on the floor?
So the motion to approve recommendation number 2 with the modifications, I think we had a second. Did we have a second?
Actually, I have a question.
Yeah, I
on
do
motion.
also.
Okay, Lance sounds like he's doing a second, and Commissioner...
Oh, he has a question.
I have a-
Oh,
I
okay,
have
we
a
have two
question.
questions. I'll second it. We have 2 questions, Huang, and then Salim.
So, yeah, okay, my question is, do you mean for the bridge, you request the city staff to reevaluate?
No,
Is it-
keep
no?
the bridge and
Keep the
not
bridge?
require to be removed as part of this project proposal.
Yeah. So my understanding is that request to remove the bridge, it came from the city side, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
To ask the city not to require.
Do you want to just not to require that or reevaluate?
I said upgrade for safety and preserve the bridge, because the U-turn is a concern there. There is no other U-turn in that area.
Okay. So my understanding is probably the city traffic engineer or whatever, they evaluate that already. They made the proposal. Right now, you just try to overturn their decision. I see. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Commissioner Salim?
Okay, along the same concerns. As I understand it, the applicant is not directly involved in any of the decisions around the bridge. I think it's probably, and Xander, please jump in, it's somewhat inappropriate of us to burden his approval to our discussions around the bridge. And I was hoping that we could break the bridge out as a separate item and discuss it at another meeting. It should not directly impact the applicant. If it does, I need to know, but it would be great to have that as a separate issue completely.
So right now, it is a condition of their approval.
Right. And I'm saying that's probably the thing that's going to create the greatest contention, because it shouldn't be.
But we are recommending to the city council to remove that condition of approval, in addition, basically removing that burden off of even more off of the applicant.
No, you're recommending to make the decision that it is absolutely staying, and there may be financial and infrastructure reasons that it doesn't stay. So for us to require it to be removed and then to have it come back later to be discovered to be required to be removed is rechurning the applicant's application, and they would have to come back for reapproval, I believe, in Xander, reapproval of the part of the project that includes that adjustment. I was hoping Xander could chime in as to whether I'm speaking correctly about the legal implications of overriding the decision to remove the bridge and tying it directly to the applicant's
Xander,
approval.
if you could weigh in before I get to the questions by Commissioner Huang and Commissioner Ikezi, can you weigh in, Xander?
Certainly, Chair. Well, if there's a condition right now that they remove the bridge, you are certainly empowered to eliminate that condition. That's no problem. Can you require the applicant to actually do expensive upgrades to the bridge? That's a harder question. I think, as Ms. Fernandez mentioned earlier, we'd have to determine whether there's a nexus and a rough proportionality from their development to the costs of improvements. And we don't have traffic engineering here tonight. So I would just suggest the commission is empowered to make a recommendation to the city council. Between now and the city council meeting, I think we would get more detail from traffic engineering about exactly what would be entailed to maintain or upgrade the bridge, and what sort of cost there would be. So yeah, the easy step is just get rid of the condition that says eliminate the bridge. The harder question is whether we can require them to upgrade that, and we're not going to be able to answer that question for you tonight. But you could still make the recommendation to council, and we'll settle the legal issues before the council meeting.
Thank you, Xander. That was helpful.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Huang, on the motion, you had a question?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I don't see any other hands up. Thank you.
Harold?
Oh, wait. Yeah, let me double check that. Got to go to two different places. No other hands up from commissioners, so I think we are ready to go to the vote. Elizabeth?
It doesn't show on the screen completely, but basically approve staff recommendation 2, upgrade for safety and preserve the bridge, evaluate the VTA bike plan, maintain 8-foot minimum right-of-way, planting of trees, and have the city evaluate the impact of local retail and possible relocation. Chair Biagini?
Yes.
Commissioner Cherukuru? Yes. Commissioner Hero?
Yes.
Commissioner Wang?
Yes.
Commissioner Casey?
Yes, but I'd also like to request that when this goes to council, that some additional information be provided by the traffic engineering on the reasoning behind this requirement on the bridge.
Yeah, agree. Yes.
I think that would show that as an, allow the council to understand that's the intent.
Commissioner Salam?
Yes.
Commissioner Bhatnagar?
Yes.
Thank you. The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. And did you have one more motion?
Yeah, I think there's 2 more.
Or 2 more motions, and
The last motion is on the rezoning, if I can have the paper.
page
On the
3.
maps.
Oh, you don't have it anymore?
On the-
All right, hold on. I'm looking for the report that gives
Yes.
the recommendations. Do you have it? Yes. Okay.
Thank you. And the final motion to adopt resolution to recommend to City Council approving the tentative tract map to subdivide the land into residential condominiums and a common interest lot to serve the development.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Huang. Okay, no further discussion on the vote. Elizabeth, as soon as you're ready.
This is to approve staff recommendation 4. Chair Biagini?
Yes?
Sorry, hold on a second. Oh, my goodness. I'm sorry, something went wrong with this screen. Hold on just a moment, please.
Oh, the cyber gods.
Yikes, my mouse went away for a moment, I'm sorry. The motion was made by Chair Kuru, seconded by
Me.
Commissioner Huang. You have to do it again? Okay. I'm still a yes, so.
Chair Biagini,
Yes.
Commissioner Chair Kuru,
Yes.
Commissioner Hero,
Yes.
Commissioner Wang,
Yes.
Commissioner Casey,
Yes.
Commissioner Salam,
Yes.
Commissioner Bhatnagar.
Yes.
Thank you, and the motion passes unanimously.
Okay, do we have any other motions on this matter? I don't see any hands up, so thank you to the applicant. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you for making City of Santa Clara better.
All right, so we will move to item number 2, public hearing, review of the proposed year 2022-23 and fiscal year 2023-24 Biennial Capital Improvement Program budget for conformity with the City of Santa Clara 2010 to 2035 general plan. And I believe, John, you have the staff presentation. You may proceed.
Thank you, Chair Biagini, and Commissioner Casey, congratulations. And tonight, what we'll be talking about is the Planning Commission's review of the CIP budget. As required by state law, the Planning Commission is charged with reviewing the CIP budget for consistency with the city's general plan and to recommend CEQA determinations on the proposed CIP budget items. One of the primary ways that we can look at whether or not individual budget items in the CIP budget are consistent with the GP is to think about them in terms of the general plan's major strategies, which are to enhance the city's high quality of life, preserve and cultivate neighborhoods, sustainability, enhancing the city's identity and supporting focus areas, and to, in many cases tonight, maintaining the city's fiscal health and quality of service. I'm going to talk about 3 projects that are good examples of line items in the CIP budget. Many of these, because this is a bit of a down year in terms of revenues, a lot of these are studies or other projects that don't involve significant capital outlays. So the first one is the Central Park Master Plan and planning for the Aquatic Center, which includes both a study of the facility and master planning efforts for a new pool and bathhouse. And what we've found for CEQA is, because this is in the early phases and is a study that's not going to result in any action to the environment, that it's statutorily exempt under CEQA. An example from of maintaining the city's quality of services is SVP's Northwest and Center loop reconfiguration, where they're adding additional transmission lines along Bowers Avenue and San Tomas Expressway so that they can relocate one of their substations that's just adjacent to Central Expressway. Again, this is a study, and will a further environmental report or a further environmental study like a mitigated neg deck will be required before the transmission line project is implemented on the ground. But for now, because this again is a study, it's exempt under CEQA. One of the highlight items in the CIP budget is bicycle plan implementation studies, which would allow the transportation division or the traffic division to complete outreach, identify traffic and parking analyses, and recommend alternatives for the Bowers Avenue and the Saratoga Avenue bicycle corridors. And for this project, because the bicycle plan was adopted by the city council can rely on that previous determination that it's exempt under the Public Resources Code. So staff is recommending that you adopt a resolution finding that the proposed CIP projects are consistent with CEQA, that the projects are in the capital improvements budget for 2022 and 23 and 23 and 24 are consistent with the 2010 to 2035 general plan, and determine that the CIP budget takes into consideration council's strategic objectives. And I'm available for questions and yeah, happy to answer anything that you might have. Thank you.
Okay, do we have any questions from commission? I don't see, well, hang on. Let me look to see if our remote folks have questions.
I just raised my hand. I just raised my hand.
Oh, we do have a speaker. I would recognize Commissioner Cherukuri. Sorry about that.
Thank you, John. I remember the days this was in my realm. I truly appreciate the capital improvement, and I'm looking at all of the exhaustive list in addition to what you highlighted as the studies. I generally appreciate the study efforts, but the comprehensive list that we have in front of Planning Commission is much more and very robust. A lot, I can see up to $1 billion of needed improvements. I could be off, but correct me and keep me honest here, John. Could you highlight some of the real CIP projects, whether it's coming from the energy or whether, I mean, from our, what should I say, from our Silicon Valley Power or from our water infrastructure or any other utilities?
Well, let's first differentiate the what the Planning Commission is reviewing that's new. So that's the new line items are the 13 or so projects that are in the large spreadsheet that are what the Planning Commission will weigh in on in terms of conformance with the general plan, and whether or not the projects have environmental clearance, and whether they're consistent with the strategic objectives. The CIP budget has many continuing items, like you're saying, that are over $1 billion. And that's not stuff that the Planning Commission will be considering in terms of whether or not it's consistent with CEQA or the general plan. But as I understand it, we do have the budget director listening in, and he can answer questions about that if you have them.
Can we recognize? Okay.
We have Director of Finance, Ken Lee, and he can unmute himself to go ahead and speak.
Thank you for the question. Good evening, Commissioners. Ken Lee, Director of Finance. And I just would add on to what Mr. Davidson did say. I think he highlighted that there are significant improvements included in the budget, mainly around our utilities. So we have very large projects in our SVP, and a lot of those projects have been presented to the council before they're carrying on, the projects that would help ensure reliability of our city's utility infrastructure and also build capacity for growth. I think those are important ones to highlight. And then separately, I, at least in front of the council, have made a lot of comments about just our fiscal situation, deferred and unmet infrastructure. So Mr. Davidson did highlight some highlights around bikes and parks for studies that are included in the budget. But a lot of the new dollars, at least, in general fund areas are really allocated to maintain existing infrastructure. For example, our historic buildings, our Triton Museum, our City Hall infrastructure and fire stations. So these are, a lot of dollars are really going towards maintenance of existing facilities. So when it comes to kind of the newer projects, as Mr. Davidson highlighted some of those, and our utility infrastructure are really the areas where many of the dollars are being allocated. And if you have more specific questions, happy to try and answer those as well.
Thank you, Lee. I think that was very insightful. I just was drawn to the strategic pillars that the city has identified. And while we don't have capital, I do want to make sure that we do eventually have something that enhances community engagement and transparency. And our, we measure that it just showed 0, 0, and I'm like, okay. But thank you again. I think you answered my questions, and it's important to note that most of our resources, fiscal resources, are going into maintenance, and it's hard to, envision otherwise. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Cherakuru. Commissioner Salim. There you go.
So I was curious, since I didn't really see it reflected in the spreadsheets of the budgets, are there projects that are being noted as increasingly expensive for maintenance as they are not currently improved? In other words, things like the pond in Central Park, which has degraded considerably during COVID, it's going to actually cost more than the standard maintenance of that pond to restore it to a pre-COVID condition and bring our public parks and things back to a full, publicly acceptable and usable state. Are these extra expenses reflected in the budget at any point, in any area?
Good question. John, did you want? Go ahead.
Again, that's a question for Director Lee.
So thanks for the question. The maintenance of facilities are typically part of the operating budget, not the capital budget, unless it's really doing like a rehabilitation of specific infrastructure. So I do want to comment from a cost perspective. I know it's a trend that's well known out there. Our escalation from inflation, supply issues, and construction escalations definitely reflected in terms of the cost of some of the items in the budget. But with regards to specifics like the pond at the park, unless there's a specific rehabilitation budget, those dollars to maintain parks, ponds, grass, playgrounds are typically included in the operating budget. I hope that answers your question.
Almost. I understand that it's in the operating budget. I'm just trying to understand if the budget is reflecting the fact that the continued, I don't want to use the word neglect because I don't believe that's a fair thing to the city. The continued lack of focus on maintaining them is not reflected in the ongoing budget beyond the first couple of years. You can't say it's going to still cost $10 to maintain the pond when the pond is degraded considerably. I'm hoping that you could capture that concern and have it reflected in the budget in the future so that people get a better idea that it's going to cost us money, more money than we're currently budgeting, just to bring back these facilities and these amenities. Thank you.
Excellent point, Commissioner Salim. Any other questions? I don't see any hands up, so I would entertain a motion, or 2 or 3.
I move that Planning Commission make the required findings on the conformity of the proposed fiscal year 2022-23 and FY 23-24 Biennial Capital Improvement Program budget with the 2010-2035 General Plan and related CEQA determinations. Am I paraphrasing this?
That was great, Commissioner. I would just ask that you add that by adopting a resolution.
By adopting the resolution. Thank you, Zend.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Are you making it for just? Okay, we have a second from Commissioner Ikezi?
Yes.
Okay. You can do the other 2 separate.
Chair Biagini?
Yes.
Commissioner Cherakuru?
Yes.
Commissioner Hero?
Yes.
Commissioner Wang?
Yes.
Commissioner Casey?
Yes.
Commissioner Salim?
Yes.
Commissioner Bhatnagar?
Yes.
Thank you, and the motion passes unanimously.
Xander, do I need to take the third recommendation as well, that the
I think there's only one recommendation.
There were three there on the
There were three
strategic
on the
initiatives.
screen.
On
They were
the,
all incorporated, in
Okay.
that one.
Okay.
condition.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Okay, so the resolution includes the 3 bulleted points on the slide?
That's what Xander's saying.
That's right? Okay.
Yes.
Then I think we are done with that item. Right?
yes.
Okay.
We're on to.
So we'll
item
move
4.
to number 4, election of Planning Commission Chair, Vice Chair, and Secretary. I don't see any hands up right now, but I will, okay, there goes one. I'll make a motion to, elect Commissioner Priya Charakuru for Chair in the upcoming year. I'm assuming we take them separate.
That would-
Second.
No seconds are needed for nominations, I should note.
Okay, well, I nominate Priya Charakuru. Any other nominations for chair? No? You're waiting for the next one, right, Commissioner Wong?
Yeah.
Okay, so we've nominated her. How about a nomination for vice chair?
Mr. Hero.
Do we need to vote for?
You know
Xander,
what?
We're
I'm
going to
a
go ahead and
little-
vote on this one.
We'll take the vote on the chair first. Sounds good. Heard a peep somewhere.
The motion is to nominate Commissioner Charakuru as chair. Chair Biagini,
Yes.
Commissioner Charakuru,
Yes.
Commissioner Hero,
Yes.
Commissioner Wang,
Yes.
Commissioner Casey,
Yes.
Commissioner Salame,
Yes.
Commissioner Bhatnagar.
Yes.
Well, very good. Congratulations.
Okay.
Okay, I
And
nominate,
for-
oh, sorry.
For clarification, I apologize. The motion was to nominate, the chair nominated Commissioner Charakuru, and then the action you just took was to elect
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
chair.
Yes. Okay.
So she has
So
now been elected. Congratulations.
Okay, I nominate Commissioner Hero for vice chair.
I'll second that.
Go through it.
No, we don't need a second.
Okay, that's right.
Well, we did the formality. So any other nominations? I think we'll just go ahead and go to the
Yeah,
vote.
I nominate Buttinger as the secretary.
The next one.
That's the next one.
One at a
Okay.
time.
Okay.
Everybody moves up a notch. Okay.
Chair Biagini,
Yes.
Commissioner Charakuru,
Yes.
Commissioner Hero,
Yes.
Commissioner Wang,
Yes.
Commissioner Casey,
Yes.
Commissioner Salame,
Yes.
Commissioner Bhatnagar.
Yes.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Commissioner Hero is elected as vice chair. Thank you.
Okay, and now I'm going to go to
I
Commissioner
nominate
Wong.
Commissioner Buttinger as the secretary.
So did you want to make the next nomination? Is that why?
Yeah. For secretary.
For secretary?
Yeah.
Okay. Commissioner Huang.
Yeah, Commissioner Buttinger.
I'll second that.
Just go for the vote.
You don't have to second.
Again,
Well,
formality.
can I nominate Commissioner Huang? for
No, you
secretary?
cannot. I want.
There's something going on
He just
here.
got elected as vice chair.
No, I said Commissioner
late.
Huang.
No, you cannot.
I think,
You're too late.
I think he says he's not accepting the nomination, Commissioner Bhatnagar, so it's to you.
Yeah, Chair reads me exactly right.
So we do have a motion on the floor.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Well, we have a nomination on it.
Yeah, we have a nomination, and
floor.
next will be,
Next year you have to step up, so just a matter.
don't worry, next year we'll get you.
Next year, don't worry, you'll be on the office.
All right, for the election.
So we are voting for the vice
Yes, we
chair now?
are. You know, we're voting
No, we're voting for
to elect secretary, nominate Commissioner Bhatnagar as secretary.
So could I nominate a council member to come back and force them to read everything for us every meeting?
You could try.
For those that are online and not in the Zoom and not here in the chambers, we have Council Member Becker who's making faces at us. So I think that's
Well,
after we're done, yes.
this is your done.
All right.
Okay, so Chair Biagini.
Yes.
Commissioner Cherakuru.
Yes.
Commissioner Hero.
Yes.
Commissioner Wang.
Yes.
Commissioner Akazi.
Yes.
Commissioner Salame.
Yes.
And here we go, Commissioner Bhatnagar.
No.
I'm so sorry to tell you.
Too late.
You will be just
Congratulations, Commissioner Bhatnagar.
Okay, thank you.
Congratulations to Commissioner Cherakuru, Commissioner Hero, and reluctant Commissioner Bhatnagar. You all are going to be great.
And that will go into effect on July 1st.
July 1st, okay. You guys are all going to be on. Then we've, I know you're standing there, Anthony, but how about we go to announcements? Is that the right time?
No, we can include him.
Oh, come on up.
No,
You've
you
been
can have
waiting
him-
long
Yeah,
enough.
come on.
I'll take the privilege of chair and recognize you. How's that?
So on the last motions, I want to say first, as being the first person to say it to all of you from the council, is welcome Chair Cherakuru, welcome Vice Chair Ricky Hero, and welcome Secretary Bhatnagar. So I appreciate you guys and everything you do. And first, I do want to say though, thank you to Nancy for this last year as Chair of the Planning Commission. I've watched every meeting, and you've done a spectacular job. And I appreciate your leadership, and I'm looking forward to your leadership now, Chair Cherakuru. So thank you guys again, and have a great night.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Councilman.
Thank you.
Very thoughtful.
Very thoughtful. Okay, we're going to go ahead and move then to reports of commission, board liaison, and committee, starting with announcements. And I will start, and then second, that it has been an absolute pleasure serving as chair. I was very worried when I first got elected. How the heck was I ever going to fill the big shoes of Commissioner Salame? As I'm sure Priya's probably, yeah, I can see her tapping her chest like, oh my God, you're going to be great. I have no doubt Commissioner Cherakuru is going to make a fabulous chair. Ditto for Vice Chair-elect Commissioner Harrow and Secretary reluctant-elect Commissioner Bhatnagar. All of us who have been in those positions before, happy to help any of you. And again, thank you for the great honor and pleasure of serving as your chair. So thank you.
And as the incumbent coming, I can't thank enough for the role models before me. I have watched all the predecessors, including Councilman Becker, Commissioner Salame, and the chair. The chair. When you add the, it's so important. Commissioner Biagini, you have paved an incredible year. It was a hard year for us. We had many, many contentious projects, many discussions, and you handled it like the true leader for the city of Santa Clara. With finesse, with grace, with respect, with recognition of the passion and the commitment that each of us bring, and you were just there for all of us. And for the city, it's hard for me to envision a year without you. I just hope I can keep your name there. So
I have no doubt.
Thank you again
have
for
no
a
doubt.
phenomenal year. And thank you to my fellow commissioners for electing me. I know. I'm like, okay, it's a year. I think I can do it. But again, thank you to Vice Chair. I'm looking forward to our partnership and to the new reluctant Commissioner Bhatnagar. It's a good position. So thank you again, and I look forward to staff continuing to be my guide, North Stars, and just leading us in the right way. Thank you so much.
Commissioner Cherakuru, the fact that we have a great group of colleagues here that knows how to disagree and yet retain respect of each other and differences of opinion, that has nothing to do with me. That has to do with all of you. So at this point, I will pass the gavel to you, Commissioner Cherakuru. During Zoom meetings, it was actually my sewing scissors. Since we came back, it's my cell phone. So I pass the gavel to you.
I think I'll take the cell phone. I'm not sure about the gavel, but thank you again. I do not take this responsibility lightly. So thank you again for keeping the trust in me right now.
And secondarily, since we wanted to get on with the agenda, and each of us up here and on Zoom did not get the opportunity to personally thank Commissioner Ikezi, I want to take that moment right now to say, I don't know how we're going to fare without your passion, Commissioner Ikezi, your institutional knowledge just from being this voluntary position that's hard work for the last 11 years is so exemplary. I can't thank you enough. And you better not be a stranger.
I see the commitments from each of my fellow commissioners, so I think that our commission is in good hands. Thank you.
Hey, who else wanted? Cherakuru?
I want to share a side of Commissioner Ikezi that hasn't been said before, because I know her incredible knowledge and wisdom that she has brought to the Planning Commission. I wanted to share a personal moment for me with her when the pandemic just started. And she reached out to all of us asking if we needed masks sewn, hand sewn. It was one of the most kindest of gestures. None of us knew what a cloth mask was then. It was still, very, very rudimentary. But thanks to Commissioner Ikezi, we picked up hand-sewn masks. And that stuck with me on just how thoughtful, how generous you are, and you truly serve the community. Your knowledge and wisdom on this commission is priceless. You have, as Xander pointed out, put your fingerprints on many, many projects, and they wouldn't be where they are without your insight. So thank you again. I can't thank you enough for just what you've been to me. So thank you.
Thank you, Chair Cherakuru. I'm glad you're going to be serving as our chair starting next month. Good luck with your new responsibility.
Commissioner Salim?
Okay, I've been holding out, and I just wanted to thank you very personally. You were the first person to help me get started through here, through the process and the various stages, and to get attuned to the mechanics as well as the emotions of the commission. I hope that you remember there are other commissions and committees. This is not necessarily.
I will continue to look for new opportunities.
There you go. And I think that would be an awesome thing to have you continue to serve in other areas. Also on the other side of the podium when things get interesting.
Right, I'll be in the peanut gallery, yes.
For Chair-elect, I would hope that we get a chance before the end of the meeting to authorize you new sets of business cards, because you should have one with like chair on it. Yeah, it's great for handing out. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Huang.
Yeah, I'm really not good at talking. But we sit so close, So
I'm really glad I finally got to meet you in person.
Yeah, I mean.
Thank you for serving with us.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. I think word cannot express myself. I don't know how to say. But yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, there's no tears on the dais.
Yeah.
Commissioner Bhatnagar?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Commissioner Ikezi, it's been just about a year serving on this commission with you, but what you've done is just inspirational. You have inspired the kind of passion that one should have. So it's something that we'd certainly try to live up to. Thank you so much for these many years of service, and we'll continue to really follow your path. As evidence, again, this is not just an opinion. I'd like to, just a couple of meetings ago, in fact, the last meeting that I attended, you persevered with a motion that was close to your heart. And, you didn't give up. You kept trying to adjust the motion to make sure that it meets, the requirements. In any case, that perseverance, that passion showed. And I just want to really, thank you for that great inspiration that you've left here for us. So please continue to be involved and inspire us, despite the fact that you're just not on the commission. Your inspiration is needed. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner, and I hope to one day meet you in person. I didn't get to do that, but I'm sure we will meet.
Me too, thank you.
Please keep up the great work, thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Harrow.
So, Commissioner Casey, I want to thank you for allowing me to open my mind to ideas other than what I thought was the right thing. And after getting different perspectives from you, I found myself often changing what I thought was my right decision. And I want to thank you for that, for offering new perspectives. And the one thing that I can say that I noticed about you in the short time I've been here is that you do your homework and you do it well. And I gotta tell you, it would do me well to take a note out of a page out of your notebook, because you are so studious and so well prepared coming into these things that, in all honesty, Yuki, it's intimidating to us less than planning commissioners. It really is, because of the amount of respect that we have for you and what you bring to the table on this commission. And I want to personally thank you for your insight and your perspective and how you approached just the whole every single item that we addressed, you had researched and just so impressive. Thank you so much.
Commissioner here, that is very kind of you to say that, and it's very kind of you to say that that through our interactions, you've opened yourself to other perspectives, because I think that's the best part of serving with my fellow commissioners. I look at our meetings and hearings as a team effort. Because we all come with our own experiences, life experiences, and our own perspectives, and because we respect each other and have each other present their opinions and their points of view, I think that respect for each other allow us to arrive at better decisions. So thank you.
Thank you all. So I think tonight, Yuki, when we get to the adjournment, I think you'd be the perfect person to make the motion to adjourn when we get there. Give you that one last shot at a motion. Okay, let's move to Commissioner Travel and Training Reports.
As staff, I just would like to say I have had the opportunity of knowing Yuki for 20 years.
Yes,
since you are an International Exchange Commission. I know we've sat at events, don't even ask me what they were at this point, 10, 15 years ago. And, You guys are worried she won't be around. I guarantee she'll be doing something with the city.
Yeah, for sure. I'll be around. And Elizabeth, thank you so much.
Yeah,
You've been just
I enjoy
such a
working
wonderful
with you.
person.
So
Me too.
thank you.
You've been so wonderful to work with. Thank you.
You are indeed loved. Don't forget that. Okay, then we'll move to Commissioner Travel and Training Reports and requests to attend trainings. Do we have anyone? Seeing no hands up, we will move to...
I will make a quick comment about upcoming trainings real quickly. The next one that's going to come up is in October. There may be some in between, but you may want to look at your calendars and make a note of this. APA California Conference is in October, and then it was just brought to my attention today, in October also, there's a Planning Commissioner training through the Institute for Local Government. So there will be two different ones.
And I highly recommend these trainings.
Thank you. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you.
Can I make a quick announcement that I will not be able to attend the August 3rd Special Planning Commission meeting, and I hope Commissioner Harrow, I will be here for the July one, but I hope you can take charge on the August meeting. I apologize in advance for that absence.
You mean I have from now until then to pull what's left of my hair out?
Yeah, to practice, to do a better job than me.
I think you'll do fine. Okay, any other announcements, training, travel, requests and the like? Then we'll move to Director of Community Development Reports, and we'll start with the Planning Commission budget updates. Elizabeth?
Sure. This is the end of the fiscal year. The new fiscal year does start July 1st. As of today, your remaining balance is approximately $11,233. And for our next meeting, we will discuss what the budget is, the allocation. I don't have that number now.
Okay, thank you, Elizabeth. Is that sort of already merging into our next item, upcoming agenda items for the Planning Commission?
Yes, it does. Thank you, Chair, if I may. And maybe Elizabeth, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but there's no July meeting for the Planning Commission.
Yeah.
So our next meeting will be August 3rd.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. And
Get ready, Ricky.
Thank you to all of you who can attend and for adding this special meeting. We have an affordable housing project that will be coming forward, as well as we're anticipating about 3 use permits for new restaurants for liquor licenses. So it's really great to get those businesses going. So we'll look forward to the August 3rd meeting.
City Council?
Yeah, City Council action. So the council met on June 7th, and they approved 2 large items that was before the Planning Commission. The first one was the Freedom Circle specific plan. Freedom Circle focus area and the Gray Star site rezoning. The council approved that 7-0. They added a couple of additional modifications, and that was an affordability requirement of 5% at 50% AMI, 5% at 80% AMI, and 5% at 100% AMI. They also added prohibiting any invasive plant species being next to a creek right there, and then as well as revising the restriction on construction hours, allowing them to go longer in that area. And then another item that the commission had discussed during their recommendation was the Class 4 bikeways within the plan area. Staff made that as part of their recommendation to the council, and the council approved that as a part of the recommendation as well. So that was Freedom Circle. And then the other item was the Climate Action Plan. The council also approved that 7-0 per the staff's recommendation. The commission didn't have anything specific on that one. There was mention about making sure the minutes were on the website. So our Climate Action Plan website does have all the minutes posted on there, and that was done before the City Council hearing. And then also making our Climate Action Plan website a bit more user-friendly. We did start some of that work. We added a section that listed the top strategies and action items with drop-down menus. Now that the plan's adopted, we're going to move that information to the top and move some of the historical information down to the bottom. So it'll be easier for people to look at what those targets are and see the 5 different sections and what those strategies are under each section. That's all I have for you.
Thank you so much, Leslie. So we get to that part of the meeting where you get to, no, one more thing. Say, oh, I'm sorry, you had your hand up and I wasn't paying attention. Thank you, Commissioner Salim, you're recognized.
I have no idea if this is a good point in the meeting or not to ask, but one of the issues that came up over the last couple of weeks was a lack of an official Zoom meeting account that I could use to contact or meet with applicants or citizens, where I have control over the recording capabilities and I have control over the attendees. And it just feels like it's something that may be helpful for commissioners, either individually or as a group, to have a shared account. And I'm only bringing it up here rather than emails because I wanted everybody to hear the idea and see if they feel there's an interest. But it should be something owned by, paid by, and not managed, but at least monitored in some way by the city, so that we aren't using our personal accounts or depending only on the applicant's accounts. That's all. Thank you.
I make a motion to budget for a Zoom account controlled by the city for planning commissioners to meet with members of the public.
Second.
Sure, my idea, and everybody else takes it. No, that's good.
She
Thank
gets
you.
to make one more motion, Well, two more. We have a motion and a second.
support Commissioner Salam, but I can withdraw my motion.
No, it's okay. I was just wondering if Sanders still there and he could chime in whether this is something legal, Brown Act issue, anything, or whether the staff has any comments.
The Planning Commission budget is agendized, and so you are empowered to add this to the budget, definitely. It might be nice to know how much it costs, but I imagine it's not significant, so it's probably okay.
Well, there's two type of accounts. So there's the webinar, which is much more expensive, which I don't think you're asking for because that's usually
No,
for a
I
larger
think it was
group.
more along the lines of like 5 or 6 people. It's more than a one-on-one free account.
Probably
Those are
just the
limited to 40
regular
minutes.
Zoom
And
account is
I
what we're
had
talking about.
Yeah, I had that condition where the 40-minute timer went off and I looked somewhat like a doof. I don't like to. So if we could have something that would last and have a few people, that would be awesome.
Sure. So Commissioner Casey made the motion. Did somebody second it?
Commissioner Huang seconded.
Thank you. I missed that. Chair Biagini?
Yes.
Commissioner Cherukuru?
Yes.
Commissioner Hero?
Yes.
Commissioner Wang?
Yes.
Commissioner Casey?
Yes.
Commissioner Salam?
Yes, thank you.
Commissioner Bhatnagar?
Yes.
Great. The motion passes unanimously. Okay. And it was brought to my attention we could take a vote tonight about funds to be expended for the APA California Conference, and that would come out of this year's budget because the registration is open. I wasn't prepared right now with all the information, but I'm looking it up. It is Saturday, October 1st through Tuesday, October 4th. I can't tell right now if it's remote at all, but it is in Anaheim. So we could take a vote to expend funds, and then we would have to do the registration soon.
Is it at the Disney resort?
Say that again?
Is it at the Disney resort?
That I don't know. Anaheim Marriott is what it says.
Oh, okay.
The cost
I'm
is
sure it'll be
800.
fabulous.
Yeah, the cost is 800 for each registration, and you certainly have the money to do it. So if we can take a vote, if you'd like to take a vote.
Is there an online component to that?
Well, that's what I was just saying.
Elizabeth, it does look like there is an online
Okay.
virtual only that's $225.
I'm sorry, say that again. There is virtual also? Oh, is virtual only?
There is
No,
a
it's-
virtual only option.
Got it. And that's $225. And
$225,
in person, it's 800 plus airfare,
Correct.
transportation, plus hotel. But you do have funds in your budget. And But we would have to do this.
So moved.
Okay.
I second.
Commissioner Ikezi seconded.
We need Commissioner Ikezi to move for a full.
Bhatnagar
Okay.
was you.
Yeah,
guys-
sorry, I had through the chair, a question about the PC training. Would you have any details about that? Planning Commission training through the
ILG. Yeah.
I know the other one, the one that I mentioned, I think you're asking about the
Was that the
the
ILG?
Institute for Local Government for Planning Commissioners. Their registration is not open yet. I did sign up as an interested party, but the registration is not open for that yet.
So we
Any
could-
other details in terms of where and when?
I don't have that handy. I could send it to you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Sure. So this is to expend funds for the California APA Conference. Chair Biagini,
Yes.
Commissioner Cherukuru,
Yes.
Commissioner Hero,
Yes.
Commissioner Wang,
Yes.
Commissioner Casey,
Yes.
Commissioner Salim,
Yes.
Commissioner Bhatnagar.
Yes.
Thank you, and the motion passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you. I'm waiting to see if there's any hands
Okay,
up.
I make a motion to adjourn, and thank you again, and please keep up the great work you've been doing. Thank you.
Thank
Mike.
you.
Mic drop.
Commissioner Huang seconded it, so,
All in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, it's unanimous.
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Adjourned until our next meeting on August 3rd. Thank you.
Thank you.